I end up in a referee's grip a lot because if I don't, I tend to just give the other guy too much, I think. You know?
Well, guys, we are live. Take it away, Josh.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Arm Wrestling Showcase number 16. My name is Josh Edwards with Nowhere to Run Arm Wrestling. We all know our host, Kane Fontecchio. We have some special guests with us tonight. Got Don Mormon, Mike Brown, and Travis Provencher. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing real good. Doing real good.
Good.
Yeah, I cannot complain.
A whole room full of beasts here.
Yes. I didn't even realize until right now that we do have the three of us that all had matches at the Arm Fest.
I think it's awesome. You know why? Because we still love each other.
That's right. I don't like your tactics though, Don. You make me like you too much. No, but we definitely earn respect for each other. That's for sure. So Michael, I only got to pull Don competitively left in a super match. What was it like to pull him right? What were you feeling? Because you and we pull right all the time.
I can give you my response. This is kind of just like a personal opinion separate from that, but I feel like right now it's hard for me to gauge things just because I'm in the middle of transitioning styles. I will say I felt a lot of I'm not going to say a downward pressure, but a lot of when he's over the top in the hook, there was a lot of retention of that coverage over the top, if that makes any sense. A lot of retention right here in the hook. And so just that for me was particularly overwhelming. And I think that, I didn't really pull his left. I don't know if that transfers, but that was probably the most vivid aspect of arm wrestling him was just when it came arm to arm, if he was over the top of me, it was very painful, stressful, hard to deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
That's weird. I've actually noticed with a lot of the older seasoned pullers that did pull back to, late 80s and 90s and stuff. A lot of them seem to have really good down pressure in a top roll. Their pronation works really well with that chopping down pressure on the
probably has something to do with the legacy system, being so close and all side, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's probably a big factor. That's my opinion, at least.
It has to be. I feel the same type of thing when I pull the guys who've been in the sport for 4 decades, 3 decades, whatever have you. They pull completely different. Yeah. And their strengths are just completely different than everything else you feel today. Like you just said, a lot more dedicated side pressure, a lot more inside, a lot more cranking down. Now it seems like a lot of dare I say more technical now, but it probably is leaning that way.
So that's the whole thing, right? It's more, it's not even a dare. It's obvious. Arm wrestling is more complicated. Arm wrestling is more technical, 100%. It's at the highest evolution it's ever been. But that's kind of where I think we're actually entering a plateau of complexity versus simplicity. And I think for a time, the simplicity was 90% of the community's pitfalls. We see it with big guys all the time where they don't have the complexity along with their strength. And this it's I'm gonna go ahead and say it, Larry Wheels took forever for him to win. It's still difficult because, adding that complexity to the strength, it's a hard thing to do if you don't already have some kind of intelligence on the table. So I think we're actually kind of at a reverse kind of period where I think I watch a lot of new guys who just think that they're going to get some move or some principle and they're going to be able to arm wrestle. And even people just complicating things on the table for themselves. Whereas you look at people like Don, he's not adding all these equations or whatever together. It's just drag, chop, back. I'm not saying it's that simple, but I'm starting to feel like a lot of our worries and woes on the table in modern day arm wrestling have been kind of diluted with a bunch of perceptions that really it's like just be stronger, train at home like you're supposed to, and show up to practice kind of type mentality, you know. But
Right.
Yeah, no,
Right.
totally. I mean, even up there, you know, where most of Don's arm wrestling came from, it, you know, from what I know, like the arm benders and all them, I mean, they've had their way to do it. Every 2 weeks is practice. You know, you do your rehab, and they've just stuck with the same thing for years. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's no need to add all that other stuff. They're very they're very, you know, strict on the clamping and the making sure that you're not loosening up your pressure on the guy's hand, no matter where it is. They're, you know, just those couple things like you're saying, but they do them really, really well, and they continue to sharpen that sword instead of adding a bunch of pocket knives, you know, to their belt and trying to go that way, right? So
I think too, the reason why I probably put so much, maybe you're saying the down or finger pressure on my lower or my lower hand is because of who we trained with too. You know, you take someone like Mike McGraw, he'll put pressure on your hand like no other. And in order to resist that, you have to fight that hand. Because if you don't fight that hand, you lose yours. And that's how it's going to go with Mike. And so when you're training with someone like that all the time, you just get to a point where you're really fighting a hand, not so much trying to just make them go into your hand. You're actually fighting that resistance of him trying to always take your hand. So that power is going to be there just in case while I'm doing my move, you try to take my hand. I have that resistance there to fight that, to keep powering through my move. You see? So I think it's who you train with too, of what you do. Because like when we had a guy, Mark Pryor, he was a Petaluma champion for a few years, I guess. But we've trained with him, Bill Collins, and Mark Pryor he was shoulder roll inside, you know, I mean, he was quick and good at it, and he'd press. One of the most interesting matches was him and Fisher both doing the same thing. Fisher ended up winning, but man, hell of a match. But he was that way, but I trained with him too. So I did some shoulder rolling too, but that's a dangerous move. It puts a lot of pressure on your tendon. That's probably where the most torque is going to be when you're inside like that. And so it's just safer to either hook or top roll than it is to go inside. Usually the inside should be like a last resort or maybe a quick point, something like that, you know.
Very interesting. Yeah.
At least that's how I've been going.
Yeah. Hello to Benjimac in the chat, Giovanni Ramos, and Grace Bears in the chat. Welcome. Good to have y'all. Yeah, I really like this conversation. To me, it seems like, you know, out of the older generation that I pull with, I mean, a lot of them are my age. They've just been pulling since they were a lot younger, but I don't see a lot of variances in the hook. I don't see a lot of variances in the press. Most of the variances I see is in the top roll. It seems like the perception of the top roll now, or the technique of the top roll, or the way most people view it that are new in the sport now, is this thing where you're kind of like running away and you're trying to like get out of fingers, get out of the hand, not control the hand. And it seems like, yeah, a lot of the older generations of arm wrestling, not only are they like not trying to, you know, break out of fingers or slip or do anything like that, they really are fighting the hand. And even more often, I've seen a lot come forward in a top roll, you know, like this, kind of like sideways and forward. And I'm wondering, Don, what your thoughts are on this, because you've gotten to see the progression of the sport, you know, how it's, you know, advanced or hasn't. And I think I've heard you say there is a lot of technical growth, and I'm really curious about that, because even now myself and other new pullers that come into practice for the first time, they do that too. Like that's their tendency. They're
we
looking
weren't
to
even
top
used-
roller fight a hand. They're not doing this back. They're like
We
trying
weren't-
to do this.
we weren't even using the words like pronation and supination and all that stuff. Okay, all we used was a hook, a top pole, inside, and that was kind of generally
Notice
it,
he
you know.
said top
And then just of
Top
course loading, you know, loading back, you know, and back pressure. But it wasn't that. You guys are training way harder and more technical now today, it seems like. And so it's like everybody has to up their game now, though.
Right.
It's in order to compete. I mean, I think I'm training harder now. You know, I know I'm older, but I think I'm still training harder now than I did back then.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I have to, or I won't be able to compete, you know?
Yeah.
I think there has to be pros and cons in both sides of the learning method between then and now.
Right.
I'd say the biggest con from then, what I'm guessing, is safety, because
Right.
I was doing that same shit my day one at practice. Like for some reason, when they were just saying like, just go, let me feel what you do. It was this, but it was this. It was, you know, it was shoulder forward and straight sideways, but they immediately, being with how, you know, we train each other for safety now with new pullers and stuff, the number one thing they said is stop that, back, you know, just for right now, just pull back, because it's safer, you know. And so I'm picturing back in like the 80s and 90s that these people from, you know, God knows where, showing up for tournaments. I don't know how often you're able to train with each other at practices and stuff like that, but that it would be just strong dudes off the street just doing what their natural intuition was.
I think it was probably a higher, I'm not going to say caliber person stepping in, but you also got to think like inspiration is a very like fickle, you know, thing to grab, and like it's hard to get. And I think it's easier nowadays because the internet, and there's so many figures at our fingertips that can just make you have aha moments and fall in love with something or circumstance. But you know, go back to like the 80s, you know, there's people that haven't even been on the internet yet, maybe, and like I feel
We
like
didn't have it.
yeah, exactly. So I feel like with that said, you know, if you're a little boy and you meet your dad's friend at a bar and he happens to be an arm wrestler and you grip up with him or whatever, maybe he'll inspire you to want to go to his club, you know, at some, you know, that after you meet him, or maybe he won't. But that was like the one moment in your lifetime that you had with arm wrestling. Whereas nowadays you have people that have like hyper exposure. I'm actually a really good indicator. When I was younger, I think when I was like in my early 20s, maybe even just before then, I don't know how long Wagner Bortolato has been around, but I remember watching Wagner Bortolato do some crazy, stupid workout in the gym with cable pulleys, doing freaking like jumping jacks with the weights and the whole rack's fucking shaking around. And like, it was an internet like meme kind of thing. And I remember just laughing at the guy. I didn't even know his name. And then lo and behold, like, you know, half a decade plus so later, or whatever, I get into arm wrestling and I find Wagner Bortolato, and I'm just like, holy fuck, that's the dude I was laughing at. And now I'm not laughing at him, right? I'm like, even though I still think that's funny as hell, I kind of get it. That's what he wanted to do. But, you know, it's interesting, you know, because of the internet, I was able to have like different opportunities to fall in love with the sport. Obviously, Wagner couldn't do that for me then, but.
See, I think that kind of lends to a point though, because with the internet, we have like this, myself, I'm new in the sport. We have this huge influx of like the sport growing. And so the majority of the shows that you go to or events you go to are a lot of newer people. And the guys like your Dons and stuff that were, you know, around when they literally traveled everywhere to compete every week, and that was their thing, and they were, you know, going to get the cash prize everywhere. I think it was maybe a little more serious at that, you know, then for most, or at least or at least a community, because it was small, it was more concentrated with, you know, seriousness. Now it's, you know, more rare that you see those guys that are that serious or have been there, you know, that long. But they do have, like, you know, the one constant is they always they talk about how this is a simple thing. It's just a fight of the hand. Everybody else makes it so hard. And, you know, and yeah, it's cool if you got a big arm, and it's cool if you got all this, but if you can't take my hand, you can't take my hand. You know, you can still be the guy taking his hand. Obviously it's, you know, done all the time, but in the simplest form, this is just a fight of the hand. So yeah, a lot of the older guys, I feel like they just still stick with that. And, you know, it's, again, like Don, now he's trying some of this new stuff, talking about pronation and this and that. Before, I mean, I know like Dave Owens and stuff, he just talks about lifting like 130-pound dumbbells on the side of a table, nothing crazy, no twisting the wrist or nothing, just, you know, strength. So
Wait, who did you say?
Dave Owens.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a monster. But yeah, so even with that, I think that we have so many different training things that people try to do, because we have this huge influx of the new, you know, newer pullers. And so everybody's like, oh, try this, I'm trying that, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. So again, maybe there's not so many people doing those things that are known to have worked for so long, right? Or they're trying too many other things that create variables. But yeah.
I know I ran. I'm going to keep this really short. I just want to say, you lit something up in my head that made me wonder about, like, you know, training and learning. And I think that is a big issue with the influx of new people. And like, I do think that the adoption of like pronation, back pressure, up pressure, whatever you want to call it, all these different angles and forces, I think, you know, a big part of that adoption was probably just like learning methods, you know, like, for example, like that's like vector visualization, right? So you're, you know, I think that's something that maybe could like help the community quite a bit if we could like do what you're saying, maybe simplify things, but, you know, figure out like what are the different ways that people do learn in arm wrestling, because I've never really thought about that. You know, why do I know how to arm wrestle? Is it because of the table? Is it because watching videos? Is it because people telling me stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, I was one of those that did it in life here and there, and I actually got into it because I actually was at a fair, which was in fact Patterson. I didn't know it was a pro tournament or nothing, but I saw that they were winning money, and it's like, wow, they're paying money for this. Hell, I'm going to win me some money. And I got spanked twice, and I was done. And that was when I was in my 20s, and it was 10 years later till I went back again. And then I heard them announced how a couple guys were training, and I was like, training for this? Well, I want to find out what you're doing, because whatever you're doing, I feel like I'm losing before we start, you know, just with the grip up. So that's how I got started in it. And then it was just after that, it was being with the guys, hanging out, everybody, just like we are now. Michael, Kane, we battled each other. We don't hate each other. Hell, we'll shake hands and be happy to see each other on next time. You know, it's
the best
it's
part.
not that way. You know, it's not that kind of community. So that's golden. I mean, that's support amongst all of us, you know, and it works good that way. Because even when, like, if Michael's pulling someone that I don't know, hell, I'm gonna be right there rooting for Michael. You know, I connected with him, you know, and that's just how, as we go, we connect with all these different people, and it's just all unique and actually a blessing, I think.
Yeah, that dynamic, I believe, contributes to the leveling up, just the vast leveling up in this sport. Because when a community is willing to, you know, shake hands with each other after a match and then go on an after pull table and show each other how to be better and help each other. These are all your competitors. Everyone on your team essentially is a competitor if they compete. You know, everybody we train with, they're competitors, but we all have kind of developed this, you know, not only community, but this understanding that by doing things like that, we are lifting the level, you know, by teaching somebody that maybe you got a win on, and then taking them to the side and showing them a couple things that they could work on, or letting them ask you questions or something like that. Now you've made things harder for yourself. They're going to get better, you know, and it keeps sowing seeds everywhere. And I think that's one of the cool things about this community that just keeps making it advance. It keeps making it harder for everyone.
I know someone mentioned something too about the arm wrestling expanding, but not, you know, wide, but not going up. But I still think you still need that broad base before it's ever going to go up, you know, otherwise you got a weak foundation, right? I mean,
Can you elaborate on that?
in other words, like right now through internet, you got clubs that are growing and new people coming in, so it's expanding.
Right.
You know, you got rankings now that people can be interested in, so they can see where they kind of sit, you know, and that kind of still gives someone, it still gives someone something if they, hey, you know, I want to try that guy, you know, because maybe they think they're out of the league, but they might have tried just to see if they can, you know, give it a try. You know, everybody always wants to try and shoot a little high now and then just to see if they can hang with the better guys. So
Right.
it's just all this adds all this other little interesting stuff that wasn't there before. And the super matches weren't there before. Challenge matches or whatever you want to call them, they weren't there before. And those were fun. I mean, I'm enjoying them. I think they're intense as hell. You know, it's different. It's different than a tournament. I'm not saying a tournament is better or worse. They're their own thing. And but they're exciting. It's adding more excitement to the sport. So all you guys sitting here on the screen right now, you guys have all added some excitement to the sport. I mean, just like us sitting here right now chatting in this was not there either. And I mean, this is fun as hell to me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that for sure. Definitely, there's definitely more pros than cons, you know,
Right.
about the influx.
I think as long as it has that base that's growing, that's strong enough again to then go up. You know, I mean, if you just have a weak base and you're just a handful of guys and you're trying to make something out of it, good luck. But if you're actually something broad and you're all over the place, you expand only so far. The only thing left is to go up, you know. So I think you guys, what you're doing and touching on, you're turning heads. ET was turning heads. He was different. He got different people looking at the sport, and it's things like that that actually help out in the long run, you know.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
They don't even know arm wrestling's a sport. And, you know,
Well,
ET has a lot of people that are like, hey, check that out, you know?
Yeah, I do you guys remember? I'm just curious if you really think about it. Like we're talking about technicalities and pronation and all the terms. I mean, I vividly remember being a fan of the sport, getting on a table the first time and being like, okay, I know nothing about this. You know, that realization being like, okay, I'm literally an idiot here, and the months I spent trying to just understand which way I can go and can't go, and why I can go this way and why I can't go that way. Just understanding basic anatomy. I feel like it was such a great journey, but it was the longest head scratcher, you know, you could ever have in your life. I think figuring out arm wrestling from the ground up, especially if you don't have good mentorship. I'm not saying I didn't, but if you don't, that's what I think, in my opinion, is the biggest hindrance to us actually leveling the sport up amongst others, is the outside's perception, not just on our behavior, not just on our, you know, our ethics or what the sport, you know, values are, how we look as arm wrestlers, but people's ability to watch the sport and understand it without having to spend 40 hours on YouTube analyzing videos and watching, you know, performance enhancing pancakes or whatever, you know.
Yep. Yeah, and there's definitely that kind of I don't know, that anybody that grew up on over the top, a lot of these people, you know, I've known a lot of like lone rangers out there that, kind of want to be the Lincoln Hawk that's just out there living and driving their truck, and they show up at a tournament and they win everything. And there's some strong people out there that can, maybe just not train with a team and show up, but I notice it's very rare.
Right.
Yeah, that
that's why
dynamic of
I'll have
having a
people-
team to train with, that's
When I have people ask me,
Game
they'll say, well, isn't arm wrestling all technique? And I say, well, all technique is a big part of it. But if the man is way more stronger, or he's just that much more powerful than you, you can just be overpowered.
right.
And that's why I think, we got weight classes though. So that's what kind of levels us up.
For
And
sure.
and so without weight classes, I can't go against even our local guys, Eli or Tom Nelson. I can't touch those guys. So we have to have weight classes, or us guys right here, we might as well just watch. So I don't
That
know.
sucks. I was planning on taking on Levon next week. I guess I'm gonna have to wait.
Hey guys,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Even on that, I think that there should be a couple more weight classes, like as it gets bigger. I think it'd be cool to have a couple weight classes broken up in that super heavyweight class, because you have several guys that are under.
Hutchison from Florida is hanging out. Okay, no. Yeah, I thought our live stream was frozen up or something. We got Levi Rakowski in the house saying what's up. What's up, Levi? We got Katie Brewer. What's up, Katie? So what else is new, guys?
Well, I
Do you
guess
have,
I'm not.
you didn't make it down for practice this weekend, did you, Don? With
No, I didn't. In fact, I didn't make any again because I had a funeral to attend. So I didn't make any practices. I kind of just did stuff at home though. I'm plenty sore from it. So I made sure I still got sore. I worked on some static stuff too. So
right on.
I'm doing what Jerry was doing, just going up and holding, and seeing how long I can hold. So that's not as easy as it seems. Have you tried it a minute?
Have I tried? What?
Yeah, have you tried hanging up there for a minute? Like doing a pull up and
On the
keeping your
pull-
chin up there,
I
holding
mean-
for over a minute?
Yeah, I love dead hangs.
Okay.
I'm doing that a lot with rope climbing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on mine, I'm trying to get back to up and down twice without touching the ground. Yeah, it's tough, but
Hey, wait a minute. I'm starting to think that this is a against Dawn show. All the guests have told me.
we got make the moves in the house. Scott,
What's up, Scott?
What's up, brother?
Salute.
Salute.
what are you up to today, Scott?
Just getting our favorite meal. Some In-N-Out burger.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that's
Mhm.
the good stuff right there.
Can't be mad at that.
Little munchies.
I'll tell you, hey, it's better than that freaking pastrami place.
Yeah. And an eighth of the price, right? Jeez Louise.
So I watched some of your performance over there in Arizona, Scott. What'd you think of that event?
Yeah.
Arizona was an awesome event. I didn't actually compete at that one, but
I
the
thought you
talent
did.
was. No,
He
I just
repped.
went to St. Louis is where I just went.
Oh,
and
St.
got my-
Louis is what I was watching. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the strongest badge,
Badge.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
all the proceeds go to the firefighters and the police officers out there. It's a pretty
Yeah.
cool event.
It had both those tournaments had really, really good coverage.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I noticed they even were like, what was it? They put the names of who was competing at the strongest badge. down
Yeah,
at the
they did
screen.
a
That was
great
pretty
job.
nice.
That's Robert Kelly. He did both events, actually. The kid's amazing.
Okay. Oh,
He's
that makes
really
sense
good at what
then.
he does. Yeah, you know Robert, right?
Yeah, he's a great guy. Really, really great guy. We spent some
Yeah,
time hanging out in Oklahoma, I want to say.
yeah, he's a good dude for sure. And I mean, both those events, it's crazy because like I was telling those guys in St. Louis, it's weird because you got this crew of people in Arizona, and then you got this crew of people in St. Louis, and the talent level at both were extraordinary. You know what I mean? And then they never, a lot of times, these guys don't cross paths, and it's nuts that this isn't happening more often, where these guys make it over to Southern California or Arizona, or we make it out there to the Midwest. But there's monsters out there in the Midwest. These guys take
Oh,
the
gosh.
sport extremely serious.
Yeah.
And so do all the other guys. But it's just funny because there's so many good pullers, especially in the lighter classes out there. It's just stacked, and the talent level is pretty awesome, and it was a fun tournament, very organized and very well set up. I had a really good time out there.
Right on. Did you,
Yeah.
I don't know if you were watching earlier, but we were talking a little bit about the differences of arm wrestling styles back in the day and now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was noticing a lot with you guys that have been in it for a while. Their top rolls, it's not so much of an escaping mechanism, but more of a, kind of driving forward or to the side.
Yeah, it was a
What are
lot
your
different back
thoughts
then.
on that?
It was way different. Like I've explained before, the pads were closer together in the center. That gap wasn't as big. So it made for much better matches, with the elbows being a little bit closer together. You're able to post your arm up straighter than being down at an angle. You're able to post up straighter. So that made it so when you were hooked, you could start turning out and still have your arm straight up and down rather than turning out the back door using the offset pads and dragging backwards to top roll somebody. You had to drive up and through their hands to top roll. So it made it harder to slip, I believe, and it just made for way better matches back when the elbows were a little bit closer together.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. What do
Yeah.
you think the reasoning was to changing any of that and pulling the elbow pads further apart?
I hate to say it, but Marvin Cohn had a lot to do with the changes in the tables. So as like over the top was like one of the first big changes to the tables. And I think I've explained this before too, but the pads, the elbow pads were pretty cool because they were horseshoe and they were still donut pads, but they didn't have that big, thick donut around the edge. It was a little bit thinner and it was a little bit tighter cushioning. So it didn't have to be as high, but it still gave you like that boundary line on the outskirts of the pad to know that you were on the edge of the pad.
Right.
And then
This is
the
a
front of
stop
it was
zone.
open. So that way you could still get pinned without it hindering your arm. But the problem was the pin pads themselves on the over the top tables were so big and the positioning of it, and it made it where you could get pinned on your upper forearm all the way up in the middle of your forearm. If you were to rotate and your arm touched that pad, that was considered a pin because it touched the pad. So I think that's the reasoning why they decided, like, we need to reposition the pads there. They don't work like that there. And then the offset elbow pads came along, and then they offset the pads. I believe that was more of a European thing more than trying to prevent broken arms, because it's really set up for a hooker with the offset pads, and the Europeans are known to be hookers more so than top rollers.
Gotcha.
So I think that was a big reason for offsetting the pads and then spreading them apart. I think in my mind is because some of the guys are so big, like Devin Lorette, we'll say Devin Lorette and another like Matt Mask, both have really long, lanky arms.
Yeah.
Both tall, big guys. So those tables become a little bit, you know what I mean? It's a big, the dimensions become different for them. So you almost think that they would have to adjust the pads for bigger guys, and then put the pads back to normal spots for regular size guys, you know? But we don't do that. We kind of have a stationary area where we put those elbow pads. And I think that that's pretty much the reason why they did do that, with making the table a little bit wider, opening up that gap a little bit more. And then you have the WAL who came along and really put a wheel that just didn't stop spinning, because those elbow pads are like, they're like stool seats, and they're thick, like cushions, like real cushions, like
Yeah.
overly cushioned.
You're just buried in there.
Yeah, ridiculous. So
Yeah, I pulled on a few down there in San Diego. I'm guessing it's probably Alan Fisher that brings them out.
yeah, the
yeah.
donut pads.
Yes. Yeah. They're fun.
Yeah,
I
he
like
still
them.
has
I like them. Really good for training, because it really kind of forces you to just kind of get in there, lock your elbow down, and work from a strong position. So Travis, when was the first time, you're a little bit newer in the game, when was the first time you got on an arm wrestling table?
The first time was probably I would say March 27th ish, something like that.
Year?
Of this year, yeah.
No kidding.
That was my first time. That was my first time ever on a table. Other than that, it was on a kitchen table or in back in high school at the lunch table. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, what really got me into it was I came across some Devin Lorette videos, and then ET. I came across his videos on YouTube as well. I mean, some of the most followed people, I would say, in the sport right now, really. They got some of the biggest following, at least, besides like a Levon and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the first time I really got on the table. And I didn't really know anything. And so, I started watching videos, and then, Derek was training me at the time, and I was picking everybody's brain, trying to touch everybody's hand, kind of just to try to get a feel. And
What did it feel like to be on those elbow pads, offset and everything, versus a lunch table? Was there anything that stood out to you?
Lunch table hurt the hell out of your elbow.
Yeah.
The pads definitely helped, but in the beginning, I thought the whole concept was their hand has to hit the pad, right?
Right.
And that's not the case. The case is, as long as you break that pad barrier on your side, it's a pin technically, right? So, I didn't understand the concept, and I thought I would always have to go sideways, and that's not the case either. I can technically go. What Jamie told me is, he said, try to punch the wall behind you. So he says that's how you kind of want to pull, and I kind of kept that in my head, right? And that was probably the second week I was pulling, and he was saying, just try to punch the wall behind you. That's kind of what you want to do. So that's kind of like how I implemented like my style of arm wrestling. So when people ask me what my style is, I said, my style is punching the wall behind me. Like, that's my style. I'm not a top roller. I'm not a hooker. I punch the wall behind me. Like, that's my style. So
I told you you're a high hooker, man. You call it whatever you want, but
but yeah, so that's my story, and that's kind of like how I started arm wrestling. But now I'm hooked. My girl's hooked now too. So it's pretty awesome that I have, a support system. One, that she loves me to compete, but two, now she wants to compete because she beat my sister last week in arm wrestling. So, and my sister's got 50 pounds on her. So when it came to it, she's like, I want to do it. So now she wants to train with me, and she's been at the gym with me for the last week and a half.
I've been watching the videos, man. It's cool to see you both going at it hard. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm today was the last day. I just worked on legs today. Actually, I don't typically work on legs, but I'm going to try to generate a little bit more power from the feet to my core. And then, yeah, I'm not lifting heavy this week. I really went super hard the last month and a half. So I've jumped astronomically, like, in my weight lifts. So I think my muscles growing beyond my tendons and my ligaments right now. So I kind of need to slow it down a little bit, I believe. I'm not taking any supplements or anything like that, but I just feel like my gains are really jumping faster than my ligaments and my tendons are. So I feel like I need to pull back a little bit, actually. So
Good to notice that. Just maybe a little bit more table time, a little more.
yep,
Yeah,
yep,
condition the tendons and all that a little first. What would you say
100.
about that, Scott? He's
Yeah,
been in it a few months.
yeah, table time is obviously the most important thing. As long as you're not hurting, like for me right now, I was going to cut my arms off on the airplane on the way home. I swear to God, I haven't felt that way and in years. It's been a long time, and my arms hurt so bad. I was near tears. Like the people on the airplane, are like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Fuck no, I'm not okay." No, I took a freaking ibuprofen. I had a fucking front row seat. I had nothing to complain about, but I was in so much misery. It
Yeah.
was horrible, horrible. And today it's tapered off a little bit, but as long as your arms don't hurt, get as much table time as you can. Don't overdo it, but yeah, get as much table time because you're not going to develop the same muscles that you are with any weights that you are when you're hand to hand gripping up with somebody. There's
There's
nothing
other,
like
there's other things. There's other things you can do too. In other words, if it hurts you when you hook or you turn inside or put pressure this way, just talk to the person on the other side of the
Right.
table and they'll work with you and work with what you can.
Got it. Yeah.
Because sometimes what happens is, I don't know if you primarily hook, Travis, is that right? You're saying you're punching the wall, so I'm taking it, you're kind of
Yeah.
hooking.
Yeah. I'm
So
hooking.
if that's the case, work on the top, then just back pressure and up and getting that hand strength. Do something else that will still benefit you in the long run where you're going to need it. And you might actually become a better top puller than you know.
Got it. Yeah. I think the big thing with really, because I'm trying to, I was pulling once a week and then I was working out 5 days a week for the last month and a half. And like I said, my strength has been going through the roof. But I mean, when I try to implement like 2 pulling days, like on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and then I go pull on a Saturday or Sunday, I'm like, from lifting weights and pulling midweek and then pulling again on the weekend, I'm like, my arm is just toast. So like you said, I got to focus more on just pulling more and lifting a little less because you're going to get more of that memory comfortability if you just get a little bit more table time instead of just going really hard on those weights. And granted, I have transitioned
Right.
my weightlifting to really focus on like arm wrestling style, right? So I try to always use fat grips every time I work out. And I only primarily work on like arm wrestling, like movements, really. Like if I'm benching or something, I'm doing it in an arm wrestling style. Like, so that's kind of like where I'm at. I do a lot of curls, doing a lot of shoulders. Anytime I see Derek or Paul Lynn lifting, I'm like, I gotta go lift. So,
That's a lot. That's
yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at.
that's every day.
But like I said, Anaheim is here in 2 weeks, and so I've been icing the last 3 days, and I'm just trying to recover like just as hard as you go. I guess I believe you truly have to recover just as hard. So you have to kind of take care of your body. I pitched for 17 years and I never took care of my body. So it's time to kind of start doing that now. So that's kind of like where I'm at.
Well, yeah, hopefully we'll get some table time Sunday. Malia, boss, am I doing anything Sunday? All right, let's do it, man. Let's get some table time. I've had a week off. I'm ready to go. The elbow feels a lot better. What's up?
Are you pulling in Anaheim, and do you pull a week before your tournament or?
Oh, that is a week before. Well, shoot. Yeah, I don't know. When I do, it's just for mechanics and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of do want to go to Anaheim. A lot of that's going to depend on how Malia's doing. She's in her final month of pregnancy. But if we can work it out, maybe we'll go stay with her sister in Santa Monica, and I could come for both days, support the amateurs and and compete the pro and get my ass handed to me. It'll be good times. We got Paul Stevens in the house saying static holds help your tendons and ligaments. Agreed. Yeah. Sometimes there's those days where I want to like train with Mike Brown or like Justin Webb just because they're so like crazy on the table and explosive. And it actually beats up on my tendons. I wouldn't say it's the healthiest thing for a lot of people to do, but yeah, for the most part, it feels like static is a good controlled way to condition the tendons. But sometimes I like the feeling of getting fired into a little bit, as long as you feel comfortable and safe and with the person you're pulling with.
No, absolutely.
We got Danny Dowler in the house saying, "What's up, guys?" We got Lawrence Osborne in the house saying, how's Nowhere to Run doing? How you doing, Josh?
Hey, John, Big John.
Oh, hey.
Tell Larry we miss him, man. How's Indiana? I think he's over in Indiana. He's getting married in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Hey, Scott, are you hitting UAL?
Yeah, but I don't think I can compete. I'm gonna take a little break. I have to. My arms are shot. I can't. If I do any more, I'm just doing damage. So
Right.
Okay,
I'll be there. I will be there.
Root me on then. Root me on then. I said, root me on then.
Oh, absolutely. Kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you going to be there both days, Scott?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna ref. I'm not 100%, but I think I'm gonna ref.
Okay.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah. Josh, do you want to go to Oregon?
Yeah, when?
This weekend.
Fuck.
So wait. We've got Johnny DeSalami in here. I love Amy put up there.
Yeah, me.
So you go by Johnny then?
Whatever you want to call me.
All right. Where are you joining us from? What part of the
Fresno?
world?
From
Say
Fresno.
again?
From Fresno, California. I'm
okay.
right here down the street from Josh.
Right on. So you train with Josh's team?
I do.
Right
I do.
on, man. How long you been in the sport for?
Just about 3-4 months, maybe. So I'm just getting started, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Josh, he's a great teacher. Same, all the guys he's got over there, great people. That really showed me a lot. I'm really interested in it. I've been really enjoying myself. And everybody I've met has been great so far. I really liked it. So it's a good time.
Hey, his hand is ridiculous, bro. He has such an amazing hand, and he's an advocate for this because John has he needs hip replacements, and he's went through some medical things and stuff like that. So we're gonna actually interview him later on down the road and talk about that. Try to let some more people know that you can get involved in this sport. It's welcoming to everybody. But yeah, his hand is amazing. This dude's gonna end up shocking some people for sure.
I like it. How tall are you, John?
I'm a 6'3".
6'3". Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I'm about 225 right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm hopefully stay in that weight limit there. I'm trying to, but wherever I end up. I just I had cancer, so I ended up going through stage 4 cancer, and it's been a year now since I've been through that treatment. So it was from 185 to now 225, and a lot of that has been since I've been arm wrestling with Josh, I've gained like 45 pounds. So it's been really a great thing. It's been making me stronger and making me feel a whole heck of a lot better. And it's just been a great experience so far. I can't wait to do my first tournament.
Oh, it's so cool to hear arm wrestling doing good things for people in all kinds of situations. Yeah.
Been best medication
treatments are doing good for you and everything like that.
I finished treatments about 6 months ago, and I just got my 6 months check and stuff all done yesterday. Matter of fact, I got the scan. I got the results today. I'm still clear, and I'm ready to go. So
hallelujah, brother.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I know, whatever, but I use him as like an example when some of the guys are like, dude, I can't make it to practice. John comes to my house. I'm not even BSing you. Sometimes 4 or 5 days a week, like every day to arm wrestle. And it's super inspiring. Like there's so many people make excuses. Oh, my tummy hurts and this and that. It's like, bro, this dude right here, and he doesn't care because he's around people that he enjoys, and he's, like you said, getting stronger, feeling healthier. It's just amazing to watch. It really is.
Yeah, well, I appreciate everything that Josh. Josh has really made me feel so much better. Because when you go through things like that, your life really changes. So as you get around more positivity, and everybody over is so positive, and this whole team, I really like it. And so it's just a great learning experience. I never knew that things were as technical. I always thought, just arm wrestling, but my God, it's just so technical. I just love the fact that there's never enough knowledge you can ever learn in one day or 1 year or 10 years. It's always a new thing, and I really enjoy that. So I'm really trying to just learn as much as I can, observe as much as I can, and just be into it. I just really, and then Josh is such an inspiration, the way he, really, he's just a book of knowledge. It just really helps me out tremendously. I really like it. So,
yeah, Josh.
I appreciate those words, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, man. So,
yeah, everything you're doing for this community, Josh, is you're a rock star, 100%. And yeah, I love to hear stuff. That's one consistent thing you hear echoed when people come into the sport new is the community and the technical side.
Very technical,
that seems to light people up. You come in, you want to kind of test your strength and stuff like that, and I feel like those are the two surprises that come with it. You go like, try this arm wrestling thing, and see how I stack up or whatever, and then you notice, whoa, there's like all these technical sides of it that you didn't know exist, and it makes it so interesting. And then everyone's so nice, and it's such a cool thing to be a part of. Out of all, go ahead. Sorry. I was going to say, out of all communities, I just think there's something so beautiful about it, because there's a lot of healthy communities out there, but a community where the core fundamental of it is to help each other get stronger. Healthy body equals healthy mind, healthy spirit, healthy everything. And it's a community helping accomplish all of those things through that fundamental of strength. I think it's freaking cool.
It is.
For sure.
We got Tara Terry in the house. What's up, Tara? Also Grace Bear in the house. These two have a big match coming up in a week and a half now. So yeah, really looking forward to that super match. Looked like when they faced each other in what was it, the tournament of Arizona, and it took a minute for Tara to find the lane with Grace, but there is a lane, and I'm really looking forward to see their match. I foresee a grinder.
Since we're on the topic, why don't we do a round robin real quick and take a vote and see what everybody thinks about each match that's happening at Anaheim? Do you guys mind?
Let's do it.
All right, so we're talking about it. Let's start with Grace and Tara. Travis, what do you think? Who do you think wins that match from what you know of the two?
You're muted, by the way, Travis.
Sorry. I've seen Grace pull a lot. I'm not too familiar with Tara. Maybe if I seen her face, I would probably be more familiar. But Grace is pretty strong. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you because I'm not very familiar with Tara. So hopefully it's a great match. Hopefully it's not a blowout either side. I don't like to watch like blowouts like that. So
yeah.
Hopefully it's just a crazy match until one person gets wore out. Honestly, like that's what I want to see. Like I said, I don't like people getting flash pinned. I don't like watching that because it's like, I'm here to see a battle. I'm not here to see like a quick match like that. That's not really entertaining to me. The blood match. The blood matches, the ones that bleed them out. I love that stuff. Man, I'm not talking like bleed them out King's move style. I'm talking like you're both in the center of the table and you're just going at it. So I'm hoping to see that. So we'll see what these girls got, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not too familiar with Tara, so I'm not
Well,
going to say.
since you said that, though, I want to take this opportunity for anybody else that's watching that doesn't know Grace or Tara. We've got Benjimac in the chat, who's our moderator. If you go in the description section of this video, you can find Benjimac's YouTube channel. Go check that out, and you can watch the North vs. South event that both of them pulled at. Yeah, was it Blanca that Tara Terry had a super match with, and that was a screamer of a match. And then Grace had a match with Rosario. And yeah, that was really cool too.
So they just had a match. Tara and Grace just pulled in Arizona.
Yeah, you can pull up the Arizona footage. They it wasn't a super match, but they pulled in the tournament.
Who won?
If you want to get any feedback on them.
They each won a match, I believe.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they ended up pulling each other again, but they both it was very impressive. So I think it's going to be a really good super match.
There was
that's exactly what I had said. We were like kind of talking about it, and we're like, oh shoot, they met up before their super match, but the way that it turned out, the fact that they both had a win, it only lets you know that I honestly think that it's probably going to be the match of the day. Like as far as the super matches, as far as like exciting, I think it's going to go down to a silver bullet. I think it's going to be a tie match until the last one, and then you'll see who wins. But I think that it's going to be a lot of adjustments that are made, and it should be a super exciting match for sure.
Right. Yeah, to me, it wasn't until, Grace looked dominant at first, but mostly all I was seeing was elbow fouls on both sides, trying to kind of like figure each other out, and it was their last pull that they had. They met in the middle. Tara found a spot for Grace, and it was I think we could see a really cool match there. So
okay, so Don, what do you think about that match?
Unmute yourself, Don.
What happened there?
What do you think about that match? Who do you think wins that match?
It's going to be tough, but I feel like I need to go with Tara. Just because
she's your local
I guess
girl.
I know.
Yeah.
I know her better. That's all. But yeah,
North
Tara's
South all over again.
I've seen them both polls. So yeah, I think no matter what, it's going to be a good matchup. So that will be an exciting one. It's a good matchup. But again, I'll go ahead and side with Tara on this and go get him, Tara. No offense, Grace, if you're there listening. You just haven't said hello yet.
Well, speaking
Scott,
of Tara,
who do you think wins that match, Scott?
Who do I think is going to win it? Grace.
Okay.
North guys say Tara, the South guys say Grace.
And you're the last one, Kane. What do you think?
Oh man, I'm gonna give it to Grace, but I don't think it's gonna come easy. But I do believe, I hate to sound like super neutral about this, it really could go either way. What makes it such an interesting match is when I think of Grace, I think of she's calm, she's quiet, and very strong, especially in the hook. And then you've got Tara, who's very explosive, intense. She's oftentimes seeking hand control, but she'll dive in the hook, she'll dive in a press. And yeah, though, to me, for those things, that's kind of what makes this I don't want to say an interesting match, but a hard one to predict, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. With all the places that Tara can go, how unpredictable and explosive she is, it's hard to say, but both ladies are absolute beasts. We do have.
Well, I can tell you this: if you've never heard Robert, her father, screaming from the crowd, you will hear him that day, and it is a sight to see. It's super awesome to see.
He's in the chat right now.
They're awesome.
He said, we gotta get Robert's prediction. He says, my daughter is gonna win both arms 3-1.
I love it.
Go Dad.
Yeah. Grace says hi, Robert. Tara says thanks. Thank you,
Robert doesn't want to be in trouble.
We got Johnny Dang in the house, another moderator. He's
What's
on
up,
team Grace Bear. We got Rib Slug in the house. Says John's hand is crazy.
It is.
Johnny Salami.
Johnny
yeah,
the
man.
Salami.
I want to get a chance to train with you, John. That's that would be cool. What are your, so at 4 months, are your sights on competing in any amateur tournaments or leaving your area to do anything at this point yet?
I'm kind of going off what Josh's lead is. Wherever he feels I need to be, I'm kind of gonna go, because he's treated me great so far. So I was gonna go. I just want to do a tournament, and wherever he feels I should go is what I'm gonna do. So because I'm just having a good time. I'm enjoying it. So I just want to be in the right place wherever that may land, and I'm just ready. So
great, man. Yeah, I think you're gonna go places in the long haul with that attitude, 100%. And you got a good guide in Josh. So what other matches do we have?
We have Caleb versus Will Klingman.
Yeah.
So let's start with you, Kane.
It's kind of the same.
I know what you're gonna say.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of got that same unpredictable factor for the same reasons as Grace and Tara, doesn't it? Because you got Will, who's a little more calm. I mean, he can go fast if he needs to, but he's strong, pretty calm, but just strong, very, very strong, both in the hook and the top roll. And then you got Caleb, who's just mega explosive and unpredictable. So it's a hard one to say, but I'm going to give it to Will. Yeah, both those guys are.
You have a score on that? Is it a straight shutout, or is it close? What do you think?
I think Caleb can sneak one by on him, but I'm pretty sure it's just going to be while Will is waking up and getting his shit together. And I definitely think Will's gonna get him 3-1. That would be my best guess.
3-1.
But both these guys are at a decent level, and Caleb's been working really hard. So but
I gotta say though, once Caleb starts hitting those weights, I mean, if Caleb takes it really serious, I mean, he could take over the entire division, honestly. Like, the dude's already insane without lifting. I mean, he pulls all the time, but when he adds, some weight into that, actually hits the gym, I believe he's gonna blow past everybody. I really do. I mean, the guy doesn't work out at all. So, I mean, that just shows you just how far along he is in the 4 years he's been pulling. The dude's insane. So, I mean, if Will doesn't start taking it more serious, I mean, he's gonna pass Will up. But I do think Will is probably gonna shut him out 3-0 or maybe 3-1 at the upcoming tournament. But I mean, after what happened with Caleb and Sam Taylor, that might have been a wake up call for Caleb to start hitting the gym. Because he knows there's another level to this, obviously, right? He's faced Sam twice now. And same answers pretty much. So, yeah, I mean, don't be shocked if you see Caleb be hitting the gym soon.
I thought I heard him mention
So-
something about that, which was kind of surprising to me knowing Caleb, but it's also cool to hear. Like in the other respect, for a lot of new pullers out there, Caleb's been in as long as me. I want to say almost 4 years. To me, he has been following the path that everyone should follow. If you go to the gym, then great. But if you're really trying to progress in arm wrestling, and you got to get conditioned for the sport first. And that guy is just crazy about table time. Same with ET. Both those guys created an amazing foundation by just working as much as possible, as hard as possible on the table, conditioning themselves in those ways. And I feel like, once you get to that point, you can start stacking on the power in the gym. But that's just my opinion. And
Caleb's got
now's
a really
the time
great
for him to do
time
that.
top roll.
What's that?
Caleb's got that really great time top roll, boy. He's really
Oh, the timing is
beat.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, when he hits that at the right time, not too many people are going to stop that.
No.
I
John,
got
what do
the
you
same.
think?
I got the same excuses with the Terra match. I know Will's tough. I haven't even met him yet, I don't believe. But Caleb's been in my corner, so I'm sticking with the wingman. And if it's gonna be that tough, I'm gonna take him 3-2.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you think, Scott?
Caleb, don't you do me wrong.
Scott? Oh, Scott's busy.
Give me
I
one more
think so.
second. Ask somebody else. I'll come back to you.
Well, Johnny
Okay.
Dang says Will 100%. And Paul Italia's cigar says armbender. So he says Caleb.
Okay. I like it.
I got I mean, look, when the match was posted, everybody thought it was such a massive mismatch between Christian and Ole. So I think Christian just looks very strong right now. And I think, I'm not saying Christian's going to win by any means. I'm saying he might surprise people with how strong he is. I don't necessarily think Ole is going to flash him every time. If I can jump to that match.
Yeah, you did jump ahead a little.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. John Hutchison from Florida
Wait a
says Caleb and Will are both beasts. Will is the favorite, but you never know. Well said.
Do they do these matches first or the tournament first?
The matches.
Good. I hope they burn them out, because otherwise I'm gonna get spanked really hard anyway, aren't I, Scott?
I'm telling you right now. So Caleb, I love Caleb. He's a beast. Sam Harris is on another planet. Like that kid is phenomenally so strong. I pulled him after pull.
Wait,
And
Sam
granted,
Harris or Sam Taylor?
Sam Taylor, my bad. Sam Taylor.
Yeah.
That kid is so strong with his back pressure. I couldn't even keep my elbow on the elbow pad. So Caleb had, that was a tough one for him or anybody else who faces that kid. As far as Will's special too. His hand is super strong, and that's what Caleb's going to have to beat is his hand. You know what I mean? If he doesn't get through Will's hand, he's going to be in trouble. I mean, he's going to have to get in the strap, I think, even to get in the match. But yeah, I have to go with Will because I've pulled with Will and I felt how strong he is. And when he's on point, he's pretty hard to beat. So I'm leaning towards Will on this one too. Hometown.
What do you think, Josh?
So earlier in the year, I would have said Will, no problem. I seen him obviously, pull at the Florida versus Cali thing, and there's variables and all that stuff. But I do know what I feel from Caleb, and he's definitely continually he's leveling up. He's feeling stronger in spots that he, you know, is working on, obviously, and you can feel it. So I think he can shock some people and he can make it a match. Will's definitely the favorite, but I think he can shock some people. He's getting to that point. But again, I was down there at Alpha the other day, and me and Will gripped up. So Will is special, man. Will is, I mean, like, even after that, I was telling Will, like, you have any interest in going after these Sam Taylor type dudes and stuff? Because, you know, from what I hear and what I see, like, continually of Will, he's that type of dude. He's that anomaly, right? But Caleb is that guy who his work ethic, at some point, it's going to pass up raw talent. You know what I mean? Like, it just will, because he doesn't stop. So who knows? Is Anaheim that time, or maybe later? I think it's going to be an exciting one for sure.
Yeah, there's that theory in arm wrestling. Yeah, I believe Todd Calazo is the one that said it to me last. But yeah, if you do play the long game and you stay consistent with your training hard, all it takes is for those people ahead of you to take a break. All it takes is for them to get a little complacent. And as special as Will is, you know, we're all just rooting for him to just train, just like, you know, stay consistent, Will. And so that's also definitely something to consider in this, because Caleb is a freight train that is not stopping. He has not taken a break in his work ethic. He takes this very serious.
Well, also,
Okay,
there's no alcohol at the convention center, so Will won't be intoxicated. I hope, anyways.
All he can have is pre-workout samples and creatine and shit that they're giving out there.
What does everybody think about the Scott and Don Mormon match?
Wait, I didn't even know this was happening.
Oh shit.
Is this not? Oh, okay. Oh shit.
Scott, you're muted.
Please let me get my redemption on Don Mormon. I've got to shut this guy up.
Yeah, Scott, Paul Stevens says that Scott can never keep his elbow on the pad. I think you were reference to. Oh yeah, we're twinsies.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I asked if you were pulling UAL though, Scott, because I was wondering, because I'm gonna be there, so you could have got your redemption. I'm pulling Saturday.
Yeah,
Well, who
Paul
knows? I mean,
says-
I could possibly jump in the master's class. I'm never too beat up for that. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I had to pull out a right-handed masters in St. Louis, so my arm might feel a little better in 2 weeks.
No, they do weight classes for the masters classes, right?
Yeah, it goes. It's
Like
go-
whoever,
first one goes
however
up
many
to.
people they can get, or what?
Doesn't it go up
Yeah,
to
they
205?
spread it out. They spread that class out quite a bit. I think it's like 176 to 205 now, something like that.
And where are you falling, Scott?
I'm like 185 right now.
Okay, so you won't be in the 176 masters then?
No,
I'll
I
be
think
in the
it's
one. I'll be in the
65.
ones. I'll be in the 176 for Greg's tournament, and for the World Series for that $1,200. I plan on bringing $2,400 home.
Okay. So if I was to compete in the masters, is there anyone even in the 176 you think that would show up? Maybe Mark Games?
Yeah, you got Mark Games for sure. He's a beast.
I thought that it was a 65 only and then went up to 205 or 98 or something like that. I don't think they had a 76.
Mm.
Not for masters. Not at UAL.
You sure? I think they do, but you could be
No.
right.
No, not UAL. The one in Riverside, they will. They'll have a 76, I believe there. Or at least even in the open, they will. UAL doesn't even put a 76 on, so it's 65 to 185.
Yeah, I think, but because they changed that class from,
Yeah.
it used to be, I can't remember actually, so I won't even say.
55 to 76. It used to be 0 to 55 and then 56 to 76.
For masters?
No, I'm talking about just open. UAL doesn't have
Oh,
a
yeah,
76 anymore.
Right,
Absolutely.
65, 85.
Right.
Let me catch up here a little bit in the chat. We got Aaron Allen in the house. Says Johnny's hand makes me feel like a dainty little flower. So Aaron
Yeah.
Allen trains with y'all up there at Nowhere to Run. I can't hear you.
Josh is out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got Aaron Allen in the
he does.
house. Yeah.
Yes, he does train with us. John and him were training in the living room when we were watching Casey slap fight. They're both about the same height. Aaron's 6'4", but he weighs about 190 pounds.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's strong. Don't let that fool you. He's strong.
Yeah. How long has he been pulling for? How long has Aaron been pulling for?
I don't know. I don't know how long his been there. Josh have to chime
I
in.
did it again. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's only been pulling. I think he's came to 3 practices.
Yeah. River also says that your hand is crazy. Gosh, I got to feel this hand, man. And we got Ill Shots in the house, says Grace for the win against Tara. And Johnny Dang said that Will looked insane this last Sunday practice, and so did Christian. Are we talking about the Christian that's going against Ole?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Oh, so Christian was there, Josh, at practice? Oh, did he just disappear again? Sorry, I don't have you guys open here.
Yeah, him and Scott Partington were there.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Christian, dude's definitely a monster. Left-handed, he's a monster. He was telling me a little bit about his backstory. He pulled for several years back in the day, and then just took some time off and got into running and started joining like every marathon that was known to man. And
Yeah, we got
now he's getting back into it.
okay, right on. Yeah, Aaron Allen says that he's been in it just a couple months. That's awesome. Good to have you in the sport. Keep training. Hopefully we'll get a chance to meet up and train a little bit together, Aaron. That'll be great. Paul Stevens gives his prediction on Will versus Caleb. Paul says if Will is awake, he's going to take the win 3-2.
That sounds like a good battle.
Yeah, I mean these are all good matches. Yeah, I think they were very well put together. So moving on to the next match would be Travis, you touched on it a little bit. We've got wait. Tara says masters class for she's talking about Riverside is 0 to 210. Oh wow, so there's only 2 classes for the Riverside Masters, 0 to 210 and 211 or over.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, Travis, you gave our first prediction on Christian versus Ole, and can you remind us of what that, like, what's the score? What do you see the score being for Christian versus Ole?
It's hard to say, right? I mean, look, for a lot of people, they have Ole blowing Christian out because obviously they see how Ole trains. They see and say that he's world class, which I agree. I mean, the dude's extremely explosive, but I mean, if you look at the years put in, I mean, Christian, you know, like I was talking to Christian a few months ago, and he said he used to compete, you know, several years back. And if you look at the weights that they lift, they're about neck and neck. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, if Ole beats him, it's going to be purely on his explosiveness. I mean, I definitely believe Christian is probably more technical. But I mean, I do see Ole winning. I'm hoping Christian can make it 3-2, but it's probably going to be like a 3-1 maybe. But I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout. I'm hoping not. And that's what I forget who was talking about it, but they were kind of upset that the matches even happened. Somebody, I forget the name. They were kind of upset that the match is even happening because they're like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. Ole is world class. You know, they're not even like on the same like wavelength. And I'm just like, yeah, but I mean, it's kind of irrelevant, you know. You know, if a guy wants to challenge somebody and the other guy wants to take the match, then
That's all that matters.
let the guy take the damn match.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all that matters, because in reality, look, I mean, I could speak. I mean, I'm a no name right now in the game, but I mean, when it comes down to it, like, if it's just these big names just competing at the world class level and not like showing the guys around their own state, like, you know, some attention at least, I'm like, that's kind of boring. You know what I mean? Like we're all trying to get better. So like, if a lower level guy wants to challenge you and you want to accept it, accept it. If you're going to humble him, humble him. That's just the way it is. Right. But Christian's training his ass off. I watch his Instagram and the dude is just going crazy right now. So I don't see anybody training as hard as him right now. He really wants it against Ole, and I think he wants to prove something. So hopefully he does. I really, really hope he does. I don't know Ole personally, but I hope he upsets him, to be honest. I mean, I hope, you know, this lower level guy that's Andre versus the Giant or whatever, right? I mean,
are they the same weight class too? Or are they like kind of like how me and you were, Kane?
I think they're pretty close.
They're the same way. They're the same way.
I mean, I know me and you were probably pretty close. I don't know what you weighed when we pulled, but I was 179 is what I was weighing. So
yeah, I was 167.
okay, so we were still
close.
different.
Yeah, I think they're probably somewhere within that 10-pound.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm really bad with guessing people's weight.
No, knowing that they'll be pulling in the tournament, I really hope that they burn each other out, though.
Yeah. In terms of anybody thinking that like Chris doesn't deserve the match, or I don't know what they're saying that you're talking about, Travis, but I can definitely, just in terms of my own experience with Chris, I know very little about him. You don't see as much of him, but the little bit I have seen of him, he looks like a killer. I mean, very strong, well-known, high-level arm wrestlers. They want to pull with a guy. Like he's really strong, and he gives them something for sure.
Yeah, it was Bosgan who made the comment that Travis is referring to. He wasn't really saying that the match shouldn't like he wasn't really mad. He was just saying that
it doesn't make sense.
The match was a waste of time, right? But then Bill, you know, rebutted him and was like, "Hey, Christian just won the Patterson Apricot Festival with a stat class of 15, and you know, kind of went through everybody, and there was, you know, quite a few, you know, good pullers there, you know, so he's definitely shown that he's in the mix somewhere for sure. But yeah, I think that it's exciting. Ole is like, you know, at least right here. I mean, my son loves him, right? So he's like, that's his favorite arm wrestler.
Yeah.
So I'm always watching all of his stuff, and
that was his favorite.
A huge fan of that dude. So what?
We both said we thought we were his favorite. Your boy's favorite.
Everybody's his favorite when he meets him for the first time. But no, But no, Ole is one of those guys, man. Like ever since I first caught wind of the dude when he had his longer hair and he was up there around Oregon and all the different state championships and stuff. Dude just looked different, right? He just looked different. He's one of those dudes that he has arm wrestling down to, I mean, I guess you call it a science. Like he has it down to a really amazing, and for all those people who think that, you know, Ole only has a hit and that's all he has, I mean, I beg you to please go watch his footage. I mean, the dude can arm wrestle from anywhere and reposition so quickly. It's going to be a hard match for anybody going against Ole left-handed. But yeah, I hope that Christian, you know, his training is paying off. I hope he gives them a match. I hope he shocks everybody. Everybody always wants to see things mixed up, you know?
Yeah, I made a comment, you know, when Baskin made his comment, my comment was somewhat similar. I said Christian maybe needs a little more time to get back into the sport, you know, get a little bit more familiar with the competition again. And again, Christian is outstanding when it comes to strength. And he's a really good arm wrestler as well. I mean, he's making a comeback. But I think if he can get in his sweet spot, he could definitely give Oleg a fight. The problem is getting in that sweet spot. Oleg's so fast and so powerful. It's almost impossible to stop the dude. And I don't know that Christian's that fast, at least not yet. And right. Oleg can't arm wrestle. The kid's, you know, he's a phenomenal arm wrestler. So, and it is left-handed. Oleg's really good left. He's good both arms, but I think I would lean towards Oleg's left being maybe a little bit better than his right. I'm not sure on that, but I pull Oleg every week just about, and I know how strong he is. I know how strong Christian is. You know, I arm wrestled him at that Florida versus Cali event left-handed, and my left's injured. And I would have beat him. He fouled out, but I stopped him. I would have came back through him. I felt, and I know he's working his ass off right now. And I really do hope he gets into a match, like locks up with Oleg, and then he's got a chance. He does have a chance. I'm not saying that he doesn't. He's just got to be able to stop Oleg. That's it. He's got to be able to stop that hit, which is damn near impossible. I'll tell you firsthand.
It's a lot easier to say. I mean,
I wish him the best. I do.
But Vazgen was definitely not wrong in what he was saying, that Ole is a world level athlete. I mean, he really is, for sure. I 100% agree with that. I mean, I watched him go over to Dubai and do that King of the Table tournament. And I mean, he was right in there with the mix with the top, you know, three. So, or top couple, whatever it was, but still, I mean, he's shown, you know, time and again. And I think you're right. I mean, it's a big ask for somebody getting right back into it to go to that level. But, you know, he challenged him, he accepted. It's hopefully he gets in there and, you know, gets his money's worth.
Absolutely. And that was, for Oleg to accept the challenge was very to me, that's manning up. It's not going like, dude, I'm too good for you. You don't have a chance. That's basically saying, I have respect for you. I'll give you that chance. And that's cool of Oleg. It's not like he's got this big, huge ego that he's just too good, that, oh, no, I can't pull you. You're not on my level, buddy. Sorry. Try somebody else. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you right now, Christian, when he's peaking, like when he was arm wrestling before, he was just, I mean, I'm not saying I'm super duper good, but I'm pretty good left-handed when I'm on point, and he beat me left-handed at a wall event straight up. So I know he has the ability to win the match. Again, it's just going to be a matter of stopping him and getting in his sweet spot. And if that happens, it could go down. It could be a 3-1, 3-2 victory. I'm going to lean towards Oleg, not just because he's my training partner, just from experience of pulling with both the guys. I think I have a pretty good idea that I think Oleg's going to come out on top on this one.
Yeah. Paul Stevens gives his prediction. He says Christian is a beast, strong on the table, but Ole's experience, I think, will take the win. Christian just getting back in a year's time. I think he can take him, but Ole, he gives the match to 3-1. So, I mean, for people like myself that, you know, I've only seen a little bit of Christian around, and his last name is Cabahug, Christian Cabahug. I think I'm saying it right. Can any of you guys give us a little bit of background on Christian?
I mean,
As far as what?
Arm
yeah, you want
wrestling,
to
yeah,
stop.
like, yeah.
He's-
Where's he from? You
he's-
said
he
he
was-
competed at Patterson. Is he a North guy?
No, he's Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Christian was competing there for a while. He was one of the top guys. Like in California, I would put him right up there, top 5, both arms, when he was competing regularly.
And what's his typical weight?
He's been like the same weight as me, so I'm going to say right around the 180-pound class. You know, 185, maybe up to 200. I think max. I don't think he's ever gone over that, as far as I know.
Okay.
And his brothers also competed. His whole family was competing there for a minute.
Any
Like his
big
brother.
wins that you know of that he's had on his resume?
Shot win.
Yeah, aside of myself, I'm not sure. I think he may have gotten a win on Jake Smith, but I'm not sure on that. Left-handed. His left's pretty good. But yeah, nobody, I mean, I didn't, I try to my own wins, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, who else do we have on the bill for some super matches? Anybody else?
We have Jake Smith, and I cannot think of his opponent off the top of my head, but it's
Kevin
from what I
Harris.
heard, it's a rematch.
Kevin
Who is it?
Harris.
Yeah.
It's Kevin Harris, Rock Dog. So you got the Rock Star against the Rock Dog, and this has been a rivalry going on for a few I'd say a decade, maybe 2 decades now, that these guys have faced each other in super matches. And I think Jake's, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jake's come out on top every time, but they've been wars.
There's also Bellastoris and Gurkey, is it? How do you pronounce the last name? Is it Gurkey?
Oh, that's gonna
Oh
be
yeah, I cannot believe we forgot about that match.
that's gonna be a good
Carl
match.
Jerky
Right. I mean,
and Ryan Ballesteros.
Ryan.
And they had a match at North versus South, but
Yeah.
mind you, it was after one of the biggest wars with Scott Partington on the left hand, and they were both completely exhausted. Not only that, after the fact, Ryan was on such a high from his win. I don't think he cared about anything else that day. And I think it's going to be a lot different this time. I think it's going to be a lot different. A fresh Ryan Ballesteros is dangerous, you know, and he's another one, you know, been in the sport for a while, you know, took a little bit of a hiatus, doing his own thing. And now he's kind of getting back into it. And what a way to get back into it, but to take a match with the #1 left-handed guy and get that spot. And now he has a chance to do the same thing on the other hand.
Mm.
What
Yeah,
do you guys think about that match, Don? I know who you're voting for, Don.
Ryan. I'm going to take Ryan. I'm going to take Ryan. I still think it's going to be tough, and I'm going to say it's going to go 3-2. It's going to be another one of them long battles.
This is exactly what I think. 3-2
Is
Ryan.
it left
yeah.
or right?
It's right-handed.
Right-handed.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Ace
Ryan's
One in
a
the
beast.
house says Ryan for the win in the chat. We got Robert Terry in the house saying, I love listening to all your perspectives on the upcoming matches. There is so much wisdom and talent on the panel of guests, including the great Scott Wynn and Don the Boss Mormon. This is true. Couple
Heck
legends.
yeah.
Thanks,
in
Robert.
there.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Robert's pretty impressive himself. Like Robert,
What?
We love you, Robert.
Robert's awesome.
Yeah,
I
he's
was
good.
just-
There
I
was
was
a
saying,
picture
Robert-
that Don posted the other day, and it was him, Randy Weaver, and Mike McGraw. And then somebody put, guess how much years experience is in that picture? And it was Phil Collins, and he goes, definitely, I'm guessing well over 90 years.
Yeah, I think we're all in our 60s, so.
Hey, but down there, when I came down to Alpha the other day, there was one thing that kept ringing in my ear the whole time I was there. I was asked by Derek, I was asked by Scott Partington, particularly about Michael Voss and what he's doing, and if he's coming back or whatever. And I messaged Voss today, and he says that he is planning on going down to the Riverside event for the Greg Sharp thing. So that's the answer for Derek and you guys. Scott Partington, yes, he should be in attendance, and he's planning on going down there. So we'll have some big names, from the north coming down there.
Awesome. Robert Terry says nobody is more intense and pulls harder than Ryan Ballesteros. And
that's a
Robert
fact.
gives it to Ryan 3-2. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good match. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, Carl is extremely strong, and I miss training with him. I think he's mostly down there in San Diego, but every now and then we at Alpha Empire get the pleasure of training with him. And Ryan is a top-notch dude. It was really cool meeting him at North for South and seeing him perform. He is, I agree, Robert, very, very intense. And also, Robert, I noticed your daughter Tara, she posted during the Arizona tournament, you guys' journey with Mitchell Stone. I want to throw a little shout out to Mitchell Stone. He was one of the first guys for me to grip up with in amateur tournament. And he's one of those dudes that lives out in like Nevada farmland or something like that, and really far from anybody to pull. So he basically just arm wrestles trucks and stuff like that. And that was a real surprise for me to see. I haven't seen him around in like a couple years or so. And it was a nice surprise to see him out there, traveling with you guys and competing with you guys. Give him a big hello for me. And anybody that doesn't know who Mitchell Stone is, yeah, he's one of those guys. I want to see him hook up with a team. It does sound like he's training with you guys a little bit, so that's good. Who's that beast?
It's one of my little puppies. These are for sale.
Are they pitties?
No, they're little Merle French bulldogs.
Oh, how cute.
Stinks like something.
Tara says Mitchell is doing good, training hard. We got Aubrey Richmond in the house. Says, hey guys. So he must be on someone else's account. He says Matt Hughes here on my wife's phone. Mine died. What's up, Matt? Top notch dude in the chat says he says I'm not top level, but Christian beat me in a super match back in the day. I beat him at Patterson. He called me out and got his redemption. Yeah.
Hey, Matt Hughes is no joke, man. Listen, that dude is one of the most humble guys that you'll ever meet. First of all, he will never admit that he's strong. But he just doesn't feel regular. He does not feel normal. Like his hand, you can tell that he grew up around this sport, since he was a kid. It just feels different. It's incredible. He's another one that we just hope keeps on getting back out there, Even like Lorenzo and him having that match, Lorenzo was like, man, when I first got in the sport, he was the first dude I pulled, and that history and bringing all the old faces back together. It's one of the most exciting things, I think.
Matt's one of those guys, when you hook up with him, he's got just an intimidating feel, solidness to him when you hook up with him. You know, you just know when you hook up with someone, it's like, oh shit, you know, there's something here before you even start. And he's one of those guys, when you grip up with him, you can just tell that, okay, this is gonna be difficult.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, a few of those
Uh,
thoughts went through my head when we gripped up, Don. As soon as I gripped up with that stupid hand of yours, I was like, oh boy. Okay, here
Um,
we go.
Yeah, Matt's
Thanks for
Matt's one of
that.
my.
What's that, Scott?
I was just saying, Matt's one of my favorite arm wrestlers there is. Like Matt, like you said, he is super humble. He's a quiet dude. He's like he's something special for sure. And it's good to see he's getting back into the sport. I would love to see the rest of those guys, Dane Nix, Ryan Davis, you know, Vaz, that's going to be killer. Vaz is coming down. Maybe he'll drag those guys down with him along with Mike McGraw, you know, Randy Weaver. You guys got some killer dudes up there that are still killing it, still can. So I would love to see him get out of the woodwork and come on down.
Me too.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah,
Me
well,
too.
that's all I ever hear about when I talk with Mike is the old dream team, if you will. But yeah, he would always talk about those same names: Ryan Davis, Dane Nix, Boz, Luke, all of them guys, Tom, all them guys getting together and going around and just whooping butt. And yeah, man, it's exciting to see, you know, some of them, because I obviously haven't been in the sport long enough to have been able to see them while they were competing, a lot of them, but watching them come out, you know, of so-called retirement now and do it is really cool, just because of the kind of legend that was built around all of that whole garage.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt. I mean, I've been dealing with those guys for the last 4 decades, dude. You know what I mean? That's how far back. Don, same, 80s, right? Shit.
Right. Yeah.
Many, many years, dude. And the thing is again, we all talk about how arm wrestling and arm wrestlers are like family. It's so true. You know what I mean? You can be enemies, arch rivals on the table, but off the table, it's like most of the time that all goes to the wayside and we're all there for each other, which is, it's a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll hug you before, I'll hug you after, but during, no hugs.
You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Not really,
We
though,
gotta
but,
get-
you know.
What a
Some
fun way
guys-
to become friends. Have a fight.
Yeah, right. I love John Dabo. How's he doing, by the way? We need to get him a super match
You know,
with the strongest chick, though. Let's put him up against the girl.
I always want John Dabo involved with something. I mean, that dude literally is walking controversy. That's what he is. But
Yeah.
John for president.
right, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, John Dabo.
He's pretty hilarious.
Johnny Dangback in the house says sorry, dropped off for a bit. He was just finishing up his episode of Queer Eye.
Oh boy.
Yeah. We got Mitchell Stone is actually in the chat. What's up, Mitchell? He says, hey buddy, would love to pull you again. That would be fantastic. Mitchell, are you going to be pulling at UAL in a couple weeks at the Anaheim Fit Expo? And if so, what is your weight class? I'm going to try and make it out. Maybe we'll get a chance to pull then. Speaking of the UAL, like honestly, I'm looking forward to mostly the Sunday just to go and watch and support the amateurs. I have a feeling it's going to be nuts. I think those classes are going to be stacked. There's so many good amateurs in California right now. I don't even know about the nearby states, but yeah, I think Sunday is going to be, and any open class pullers that are going the Saturday, you know, you're going to get free entry for Sunday. too. Go back and support the amateurs. It's going to be really fun to watch. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah,
speaking of which, is that just for the pullers only, not for anybody with you, right? It's just only for you, correct? Or
What do
as
you mean?
far as the getting in
I
in the
believe
expo?
so. Yeah. I'm
Well,
pretty
Yeah,
sure.
they can still enter without actually entering and get that 2-day wristband. I think it's cheaper that way. It may not be. You used to get a t-shirt too, so it really made it worth it. And then, I don't want to speak for Bill because I'd be stepping on his toes, but sometimes he might have an extra wristband for somebody, sometimes.
Yeah, well,
Right. Yeah.
I just didn't know how all that would work because someone mentioned that the pullers got in free for being competitors.
No.
yeah.
Yeah, you do. You get a wristband because you're competing, but you pay
Okay.
outside. So you're, you know what I mean? That's how you are competitors. So you pay for it outside.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting day. I'm super jazzed about the amateur day to see what happens with the amateur team championship, because how many tournaments have we seen where the amateurs have a cash prize?
How much is that? Wait, am I missing something? There's cash prizes?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's just $250 and a trophy.
But you're
that's-
just talking about the amateurs, right?
Yeah, for the amateurs, yeah.
Is the Saturday as well for the team? Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also cash prize with the first, second, and third place trophy. Yeah.
Nice. Very
Same
cool.
amount?
Yeah, same amount. And the cool part about it is it doesn't cost you anything extra to join the team championship. It runs concurrent. All we're using is the standings from the regular tournament and putting them towards the team championship. So just by saying me and these 4 guys are a team, you have a chance to add $250 to your, whatever else you're winning that day.
So it's a 5-man team plus the women, or
The what?
is it a 5-man team plus a woman or a women? Or how is it?
No,
how's that
no.
work?
It's you can mix whoever you want in your team, but it's a 5-arm team. Should I be more specific? Because you'll have some guys that want to pull left or right, but only one of their arms will count for the day. So like one guy like Ole, for example, won't be able to join 4 classes and it count. It'll only count for one. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool.
It's going to be a good turnout. A lot of our local teams are getting real serious about this.
I think I'm only pulling right-handed.
You're only pulling righty?
Yeah, because I think the left goes to 205 or something like that, doesn't it? Is it 98? Is it 98 or 205 or something like that?
185 to 205. Yeah.
205, yeah.
They're the same right and left. They don't change from right to left in the opens.
Yeah, they do. There's a 65 and an 85 in right, but then the left goes to a 205.
No.
Yeah.
No, it can't be right.
Yeah, I think
You
I've got
check it. Well, you guys look right now and you're going to say, hey, Don, yeah, you're right.
There's a misprint. That's usually it's even both.
I
both
did that.
hands.
I did that. They had that same thing in Patterson, which I did the left-handed, and those boys were just too big. There was a lot of us that were, we're not even probably quite 85, but we're still pulling 85s right, and because there isn't anything for us other than that. And then left-handed, we had to go up even higher to 205. So, and I was pulling guys I actually never pulled before. I even told Ballesteros' brother when I pulled him, I said, I never pulled you before.
Yeah, so you got right and left-handed, amateurs and open, 65, 85, 205, 232, 233 plus.
Yeah, they are the same. Yeah.
And then the
masters and pro.
Yeah, the masters goes 165 and under to 205, and then 205 to 206 and 206 plus. So I actually got more.
Isn't the
classes.
left hand the same as the master with the 205?
Yeah, it says right and left. Correct.
Robert Terry says to tell Don, don't be scared, Don. Pull up on the left.
Hey, I'll pull you, Robert.
Robert's pretty
Is
intense.
masters at age, a certain age, or is just you have to have gray hair?
Whoa, it's 40 and over on this one.
Yeah.
This last one, the one in St. Louis, was that was 40 and over there too. But I've seen a few now that changing it to 50 and over because they know
There's
we're
a 60 also. Some of them are running even a 60 over.
Right.
USA has a 60 over.
That's because all those 50-year-old gray hair dudes are kicking all their asses.
Mhm.
Let's join the Masters, Kane.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's get him, Kane.
I'd like to say that I'd want to get a win somewhere, but I don't know if I'd get one there. There's some bad dudes in the Masters.
It seems like it's more stacked than the other classes.
Yeah, right.
That's what I said. I said that before. I'm more worried about the older guys than the younger guys.
Yeah.
But these days, I don't hate to say it. I'm glad to say it, but it seems like, in St. Louis, almost all those guys that I was tripping, like most of these guys were under 25 years old, and they're freaking good. This Dalton Duncan, this kid, like I knew nothing about. Like half these guys I know nothing about, and I'm like, these dudes are freaking good, man. These good old boys are freaking strong, and they're good arm wrestlers. So
yeah.
I would love to see a cross, a crossover where we all show up to an event and all these guys, all the Alabama boys are there, Tennessee, Mississippi, Los Angeles, Arizona, South Carolina. There's some damn good arm wrestlers out there. If everybody shows up to one event, and obviously that's going to take money for that to happen, but it would be pretty cool to see. More than anything, it'd be great to see some state championships and see all the state champions face each other. That would be ideal.
100%. I totally agree with that.
Texas, Missouri, or Oklahoma. Good central locations for something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Texas boys, they got. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you guys. But if any of you listen, Texas is on the map. Texas is on the map.
I think that we need to create like a big arm wrestling week-long expo somewhere in the United States where it's, seminars and tournaments and super matches and classes and after pulling and everything arm wrestling, for a whole week, all the entry fees and everything like that come to culmination with like a huge, like $10,000 cash prize or something for, whatever it is. But I think it'd be awesome. I think we'd have
everything arm wrestling.
Yeah, everything arm wrestling. There's so many arm wrestlers out there like Scott and Caleb who travel all over the place and do it. They'd be there in a heartbeat, especially if we, get some money behind it.
These guys, Dalton Duncan and I'm drawing a blank. The guy he arm wrestled was really good. The guy ended up beating him. Dalton, I'm pretty sure, thought he was going to win, but they put $2,000 of their own money up.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's a chunk of dough, and then they both entered the tournament as well. But again, money's going to bring out everybody out of the woodwork, as well as those guys that don't leave their hometown. It's worthwhile to. There's a little bit of cash to be able to bring home to mama and the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not the opposite where they're like, God damn you can't keep doing this. You're going to kill us. We need food on the table, boy.
$2,000, that confidence.
I know for a fact a lot of those OGs from up north would come out if there was some good cash prizes. That's one of the things Mike used to say to me, or he says to me, is that they used to hunt down the money tournaments and go wherever the money was across the U.S., and they'd go and steal the purse. And
they want Varaj out there in Arizona. You know what I mean? I'm like, Varaj ain't going to Arizona, and there's some money to win. It's
Right.
as simple as that. You know what I mean? He ain't leaving town. He's not going to spend money out of his pocket unless he can get a return. And that goes for a shitload of guys. I mean, that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? But that's just,
It honestly should. That's one of the things we were talking about in the previous shows when we're, the athletes are the entertainment. However, they're paying to be the entertainment. I mean, it's one of the only sports in the world where you are literally paying to compete all the time. You don't get anything really back. I mean, there's a couple little money purses, but these athletes aren't getting paid like they should. They should be commodities. They should be having their travel paid for consistently with their hotels and per diem money, and all these things should be there, because once that happens, then the public is going to take this even more serious as a sport, because you're putting your athletes out there like something professional.
yeah,
Right.
sure. Yep.
Yeah, as more and more top tier arm wrestlers are getting more exposure and everything like that, sponsors are getting behind some of them. We're seeing it with guys like ET, and then I don't know, just some of the higher level of world events and stuff like that. So I don't know, as that slowly progresses, hopefully that'll open that area up a bit.
Well, you know what the market is.
We don't want it to,
The market
we don't
is
want it to
over in
take
the
another
East.
40 years.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The market is in the East. Devin Larratt has almost 600,000 subscribers on YouTube, right? Or whatever you call them, subscribers or whatever.
Right.
Levon has 539,000 subscribers. Okay. He doesn't make content. He doesn't, have to go out there and make all this stuff for people. Again, people over there, they just like super hyper support their athletes because of the same thing we're talking about. They treat them like commodities over there. They treat them like national treasures,
Yeah.
and all their people are behind them. I mean, they're waving their flag when Levon goes to compete. It's not just like we are over here. It's not to say, anything less of us, but it is more of a hobby compared to over there. It's like a lifestyle,
Right.
Yeah. No doubt. Here, it's unfortunately, it's here. We got a lot of egos. Here's the thing. Supporting is like, I don't know why it's so hard. It's like pulling teeth. You know what I mean? Supporting each league, each individual. It's like, it's only us. You know what I mean? We're just a small niche, and to compete against each other is ridiculous. It's like, we're not even that big yet. Like, how are we competing when nobody else is looking at us? So it's like, until we get there, let's not bag on one another. Let's try to support one another. But again, more than anything, let's just try to unify and try to come up with something big enough that everybody puts their eyes on, including sponsorships. And
Right.
Until we do that, we're just going to stay spread out, and we're going to stay this thin layer that only we know about,
Everybody quit being a legend in their own mind.
Mhm.
And here's one thing that I think would change the game, right? And it's because exactly what you just said, the egos is what's stopping it. But if every arm wrestler who's out there on YouTube went and subscribed to every arm wrestler that subscribes to them, this whole shit would blow up. But you have guys that have 500,000 subscribers and they're only following 100 people, right?
Right.
So it's like
wouldn't-
you need to share back that love, okay?
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
that alone would blow this up, because everybody in the world, the algorithm would just spike. Everybody would see it, right?
Yep.
But we
I'm glad you
can't
said
do
that.
that.
And
Josh
those
said it
people
right.
with 1 million subscribers that aren't subscribing to the others, what they don't see, all they see is that they have 1 million subscribers. What they're not
Right.
seeing is that if they did that, they would have 100 million subscribers. Maybe.
Exactly.
at some
And then,
point.
then they would help how many more people to, come up. They're paying it forward and giving a hand up, because without all those subscribers, they wouldn't be where, what they're doing.
Right.
Right.
So we all got to pay homage. If we don't pay homage, nothing's going to continue to blossom. You got to water the seed.
Right. Yeah. The competitiveness there, like I said, like you just
There
said,
you go.
for you to share, subscribe, is it really that hard? Are you really that worried that somebody's going to surpass you? You know what I mean? Is Kane going to get more likes than me?
Yeah.
Is he going to have more subscribers? Well, fuck it. Then I'm not going to like his shit, because he's going to
I hope
catch up
so.
and pass me. It's like that mentality has got to go out the window. along with
Yeah,
the
hey.
ego, because that's what it is. It's the ego. It's just like,
It
just
is.
support. Let's
Yeah.
push this thing in every which way we can. And I mean that in a positive way. There's a lot of negative things about arm wrestling that's going on that we need to kind of edge out or figure out a way to like get it on the right path. But we need to support each other the best we can. And again, the bigger we are as a unity, the more eyes that are going to be upon us. As individuals, it's going to stay individuals. There's going to be a handful of those guys that are always going to be at the top because they're there now and they're idolized as being at the top, whether they're cheaters, steroid users, whatever they are, they got their followers. And if they don't share the love, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Yeah, you're going to make money off yourself, but are you really going to grow the sport? Or do you really want to grow the sport? So is your
That's
love
why
there for the sport? Or is your love there to make your ego as big as possible? You know?
Right. Yeah, that's why we see a lot of constant
That's what it's
plateau.
about.
They reach a spot and then it stops because same thing. They're not, sharing the love. They're not continuing the cycle. And you can only get so much with a small community. I mean, if you're one of these top elite guys, you probably already have everybody that's going to subscribe, unless we continue to get this out there to more eyes that don't know about the sport.
Right. It's like
When you
schoolboy,
guys
right?
started this, when you guys started this right here, I thought this was a really cool thing. I'm really blessed and happy that you guys even let me be a part of it. But I mean, I looked right at Kane when I saw him and I said, I hope you continue doing these live feeds because they're enjoyable to me anyway, as an arm wrestler. Anybody, it's kind of like if you're just like, I'm going to bring up fishing because I did a lot of fishing. When you're really into a sport and you get dedicated in any way, you like to hear from other fishermen. Same with arm wrestlers. You like to hear from other arm wrestlers and talk arm wrestling because it is like when you're into it, everything is arm wrestling. So when I saw, these things are all helping. And I think when, like you were talking about seeds, planting seeds and stuff like that, I think all these little things going on, I mean, you guys are trying to hit on something and as long as you keep working on trying to hit on what's going to work, what's going to help, what do people like, what are the polar, and all these different things and working on that, it's only going to get better. I mean, social media is a tool. And if we don't use it right or correct, we'd be blowing it.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, all arm wrestlers you mesh with. I mean, it's a great, there's great people out there. I mean, there's really a lot of common ground we all have, and that's what's, we need to just pay it forward, and then everybody needs to subscribe to everybody else. Like you said, it's really important that we do that as a whole.
Yeah, it's too small, too small of a niche to be not trying to help everybody out and unifying. And anybody that is doing really well in it, they got to see how much better they can do by helping unify.
100%. Those guys, those dudes that are at the top, Devin Lorette, Travis, Michael Todd, we're talking about Americans. They need to do their part. Elite. Yeah, if you could call them elite. I mean, they're elite for a reason. So we're not going to get into that, but they need to do their part about making it bigger in the way of unity. Again, to promote all of this that we're doing behind the scenes. And it's not that they won't, it's just a matter of maybe it's bringing it to their attention. You know what I mean? Like I've talked to Travis many times about all the things I want to do, but it doesn't go with his agenda on what he wants to do. But in my opinion, it would only help him in the long run. So it's a tough sell to some of these bigger guys that can make money off their own name.
Right.
So
right.
That's the hardest part, is just trying to get those guys involved, just kind of spread the word that they're not the only ones that are doing this. And if we pull together, we can make this thing a lot bigger and a lot broader to the public than just the group of us that follow each other and only know of arm wrestling because we do it,
Yeah, I mean, sorry to cut in. I mean, I totally agree with you, Scott. obviously these big names are very gravitational, right? The Devin Larratts, the Travis Bajans, the John Brzinks, like these guys have put in so much time where it's like they just want to obviously probably make money now, you know, off of what they've done in the past, of course. And they don't want those like smaller building blocks probably within like the community. Like, you know, Josh and Kane have been working behind the scenes to put an event together in December. It's really based around the community and building within, right? With the younger generation and stuff like that. We're not really going to make money off that, but the fact of the matter is, like, it needs to start with the young generation. And obviously us as arm wrestlers, we know those big names, but those younger kids in the community don't know them, you know, because they haven't seen those videos, or they don't know that arm wrestling is actually a sport, you know? So like, I mean, if there's ever an idea that you want to talk about, obviously we're not the big names, but you know, we definitely want this, you know, to blow up. I've only been in the sport for 4 months, but I'm like, I already have so many ideas that I tell Kane and Josh, I'm just like, guys, let's do it. Let's go. We got to do it, because it's like, if we don't, like, who else is like, you know, people can get together in the teams all day long, but if you're not building it with the young generations and putting, you know, community events together and stuff like that, like it's never going to blow up, because these guys that have all these followers, they don't really respond to people on the social media. Trust me, I've hit multiple people up that have a massive following. I've never heard back. And the only way I actually got into arm wrestling was I contacted Will. And like I told you guys last time, I thank Will for replying, because I wouldn't be at a practice, because he responded and said, hey, this is where we practice. Cool, great. Like, it's hard to get in contact with those big names, especially if you don't personally know them.
All right. True.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there used to be a beginner's class? Do you guys think that that's even a thing anymore, or just amateur and pro?
I see a couple places that still have a novice class. But yeah, I mean,
The reason why is because usually even a person that's, you know, never done it before, even if they trained a little, amateurs can still be pretty damn tough, you know, when it comes to a new person. If there's an amateur that's pulled a little bit, a lot of times those guys are still, I don't know, I was just wondering if, even if it's because I think people are intimidated to even step up.
oh shit.
People are intimidated to step up to the table at times. And if they actually saw the word beginner, you know, would they be more apt to give it a try?
Yeah.
Possible. I mean, you could have I mean, again, it's one of those things. It's like, are we that big enough to even have a beginner's class, or do you just have a beginner's tournament?
Right.
Period. You know what I mean? No, just beginners. That's it. That way, I mean, part of the issue I think with arm wrestling is with tournaments is, you know, the more people that enter, the better for turnout and numbers. But it also makes that tournament that much longer to get through in one day. And then if there is payouts, the more people, the more divisions, the more the payouts are. But on the other hand, you have more entries. Like we were talking about a lower weight class that needs to be brought back. At least 145-pound class needs to be brought back, I think. And that class will be one of the biggest classes at every event. I guarantee you, those guys that aren't weighing near enough to compete at 165 pounds, and there are a lot of them that still enter, but there would be a lot more.
Right.
There's a lot of small men out there that can compete at arm wrestling, but can't play a lot of other sports unless they're a jockey.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But there's not a lot of sports little guys can play. But arm wrestling, if you put a weight class there for them, look, what a great sport to have, you know?
Plus, it'll wake you up when you see a 145-pound guy across from you and you weigh 80 pounds more. He grabs you a hold of your thumb and puts you down. If that don't wake you up, I don't know what else does.
Yeah. The other thing it opens up is for the younger generation. You know, kids that are growing up, they're 15, 14, 15 years old. I started competing at 15. That was my first tournament. And it was a 135-pound weight class. You know what I mean? And I was able to compete at that class till I was like, I don't know, 16 and 17. The class went to like 140, 145. And then, you know, I gradually kept gaining weight and going up in weight divisions, but those classes still remained for the lighter guys. And there was a shitload of really good 145-pound guys, like you said, could still not so much compete in the upper classes, but he could give guys matches. You know what I mean? They were competitive, but they probably weren't going to win the tournament. You know,
Was that sit down arm wrestling?
Well, yeah,
sit
'cause
down?
it was different.
Was
When
that
I
sit
was-
down arm wrestling? Or was that still
No.
with head tables?
They've always had sit down, but sit down never really blew up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with they had the arm wrestling monster machine, which they still have that too. And that actually got better sponsorship than regular arm wrestling, but there wasn't that many of those events. They only had really like a state championship and then a world championships on those machines, which was pretty cool too. But not that it eliminated technique. It was a different technique when you arm wrestle the machine against another guy on the other side. So it was all mechanical.
You arm wrestle the machine? Explain that. How'd that work?
Yeah, you each have a handle. It's kind of like an old bicycle handle, like on a banana seat bike, with like the ape hanger bars, and you kind of have a handle on each side, and you have to, you know,
Yeah, it
pull
had an
down while the
adjustable-
other guys.
Yeah, it had an adjustable pad here. So you could adjust it to your hand length to grab the handle. So your arm would sit on the pad. You would grab a handle, and directly across this machine, the guy was grabbing the exact same thing. And it could be calibrated to where I could go my right hand against your left hand, which is pretty cool. And then they had weight divisions where you could do teams, 2 guys against 2 guys. It was badass.
Any
And then-
different pounds of pressure or what? It would take it by pounds of pressure, how much pressure one was going against each other, and was it like that? How would they score it though?
Well, here's the thing. So you had a machine that was a half circle, right? So you're basically looking at the top of it being here. And if you were to lose, you would go all the way to the one side of the half circle. To win, you're going to the other half circle. So you mechanically, you couldn't cut through that thing. You had to, if you were on the losing side, you literally had to push yourself back up to that center point and then come down onto the other side of it. So it was technique. Platform choose was a big factor with that sport. With that machine it was huge to be taller, because you could sit up on top of that handle and on go immediately be hanging off that handle on your platform shoes. I wish I had footage of it. I competed in it one time, and I actually did pretty good. I took second place in the nation and won $750. Got a bitchin' U.S. Armed Forces watch, and it was in Las Vegas at the Showboat. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It wasn't the same as arm wrestling, but you know, it was different.
You know what we need to do again? We need to do the Harley pool.
Yeah, for Harley Davidson.
Yeah, that shit was awesome. How they would win a key. Each winner of each class would win a key, and then one key would start the bike.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. I wish that's what Greg Sharp's tournament. You know, the finals are going to be at that Coronado Harley Davidson in San Diego again. I wish they were giving away a bike.
When I went there last year, I thought they were giving away a bike. I said, "Oh shit, this is one of those Harley pools."
Yeah, I wish.
But, yeah, that's awesome. It's just such a cool idea.
Yeah.
And to have a prize like that, I mean, you're really drawing some big names, you know.
Hell yeah. Imagine if all the bikers found out about it. You know what I mean? Seriously, if they ran an ad, you know how many dudes that ride bikes would fucking show up to that event?
I know.
It would probably be bigger than any event we have ever had. Just from bikers showing up to win a freaking Harley Davidson. You know?
Just to arm wrestle. Yeah.
You know, for like a central event where we are trying to get the East and Western states all together, all the bad dudes at one, aside from the prize money. I I also wonder about facilitation. You know, if we were to unify in terms of promoters of all facets, in terms of creating more facilitation for accommodations, for travel, all that stuff. I don't mean talking about paying to get these people out there, but arranging shuttles, you know, a Southern California shuttle that some sort of transport system that everyone could get involved in from Southern California to get to Oklahoma. Some way to you know, renting each state, or the promoters helping, you know, each state find B&Bs or
Make
whatever.
a deal with Greyhound. Make a deal with Greyhound.
Yeah, Greyhound. I don't know if flying could be a good option. You know, I don't think that it's going to help in terms of numbers of getting people to pull together for flights, but you know, things like that, getting creative. Now that B&Bs are so popular, renting a house for each, you know, region or whatever, the cost goes down extremely for each person if you're doing a B&B.
You're right. Yes.
The one we did for North versus South, you know, we only got a small one for a few of us, and even just for a few of us, I mean, this was a nice place. And you know, the breakdowns for just a few people to stay was like less than it would be probably to go rent a Motel 6, you know, one person or something like that, and had a pool, a hot tub, a beautiful kitchen and all that. We're able to, you know, do an after party and stuff like that. I don't know, just something like that. Like I wonder if that's one of the bigger reasons that stops a lot of the people from coming out, because yeah, prize money is cool, but only a few people are going to win that money, for one, and for two, like, you know, the good majority of these people are going to have to spend time and money to go out to the central location. How can we make it easier?
We're gonna do it. It's already in the works. It's been in the works since April. Since North versus South. The next idea, remember I talked to you a little bit about the state versus state thing and all that.
Yeah.
But the title is going to be Coast versus Coast, right? And you're going to have like the East Coast and West Coast, just like you said, centralized location meeting up in the middle somewhere. A weekend full of super matches where, you know, once everything gets locked in and everything, we'll have $1,000 prize for the winner of each match. And that alone, you know, just for one super match I know it's not your $10,000 WAL prize, but to have 20 matches or 25 matches at $1,000 a piece, it's a decent weekend. And I think we can get something really, 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 really nice together where we get the best. And again, that team thing really plays. Like we have Team California, you know, the best couple guys from the north mixed with the best couple guys from the south, like our guy from each weight class, and we go do that game of arms style, you know, where the teams meet up and they put the cash down and they, you know, we got to make it big ourselves. But yeah, that's one of the big goals, and that's one of the things behind, you know, the scenes that we've been talking about with the couple of people that we're working with, and it should be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I know there's a couple of like Greg's doing like the really cool thing, and he says that the season 1 is sitting in quality control with Tubi, and they'll have a release date. You know, they don't know the release date yet, but I still think that there's a really cool way that this could be presented that can get it out there, you know, and everybody, just like the things we're talking about, everybody can really help that happen really quickly by supporting each other, getting the fan base like big, getting the audience base bigger. And that's how you get those big names behind it who are willing to put on those Vegas lights shows and, you know, the big bang things that used to happen. Because I think if we look back, I think arm wrestling had bigger events and bigger shows, you know, 20 years ago. It looks like, you know, from the things I've seen with those old Brazink days and stuff like that. I mean, you look at those crowds and those venues that they had, and they were like, you know, kind of second to none. And then now we're kind of like, you know, trying to get it back up. But yeah, I think
a few good sponsors, that's all it needs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
sponsors aren't going to come until we make it, like, again, until we unify. We've already,
Oh,
like, again,
yep.
yeah, they
we've
need
been
to
through this
see, they need to
for
see
40.
that.
Yeah,
And the team thing is going to be a big factor too. They can definitely get behind teams a lot more than
100%.
Individuals,
or
yeah.
whatever. I
Yeah.
really like Oklahoma. I really like Tulsa for a central location potentially for it. It's a really, really cool town. It was easy and cheap to get around in terms of travel. A lot of accommodations for people to stay. The airport's really close to the downtown area there. I think that could be a good area to potentially do something like that. But whenever that is put in the works, yeah, I definitely think we should kind of put together a small group of people that can help network, be in contact with both ends of the country in terms of accommodations. You know, how can we help you, you know, find B&Bs, get yourself a shuttle out or whatever. Yeah, I think more of the support and the money can get behind it if it's obvious that it's going to be accommodating enough for everybody to show up in the first place. You know,
Dallas is the cheapest flying hub in the United States. So, I mean, if it's done in advance, you can get 6 months in advance for 6 months in advance.
okay.
It might be then to Oklahoma. I know Texas is Dallas.
You're breaking up a little bit on us, but Dallas is a pretty central location. I don't think I've been to Dallas in particular, other places in Texas, but so you think Dallas is a pretty good spot for something like that?
Yes,
I think the time,
because of the flight.
yeah, I think the time of the year is going to be, you know, obviously you want to kind of plan things seasonal wise, you know, where you go. You know, if it's too hot, like Vegas is a great spot, but it's pretty hot there right now. You wouldn't want to go to Vegas right now. And then you got tornadoes, you got, you know, weather, you got to look out. Yeah, basically you got to kind of plan it around the seasons also. So that's something to keep in mind. What was really cool about the last two events that I've attended, and any event that I've attended that's been in a hotel and the event takes place in a hotel, has been really phenomenal for a few reasons. Usually because they have a banquet room or a conference room for that event to take place in. You know, Arizona was an exception. It was 120 degrees out there. So, you know, it was hard to even keep the AC cool with a room full of athletes. It got a little steamy after a while, but the fact was that you could go to your room within minutes if you needed to. So you had your refrigerator, you had your room. If you needed to go change clothes, you could go jump in the pool if you wanted to, even though you wouldn't jump in that hot water there. But the event in St. Louis was kind of all inclusive. It gave you 20% off your food. I loved it. It was perfect. It wasn't too expensive. The discounts were good. The whole venue, it was freaking badass. I mean, it was right there in Ballpark Village. Right. I mean, everything was there. The nightclubs, all the bars, everything was right outside that hotel. Super convenient when you don't have to drive a distance to get to the event, pay for parking, and then deal with the, you know, extraordinary prices with their food. I mean, if you can get a shuttle from the airport to the hotel, you don't have to, like, I took the Metro Rail or Metro Link in St. Louis. It cost me $35 to get there from the airport. It cost me $250 to take the Metrolink, and it was way better. So, you know, there's things you can research to make your trip a lot better. But I think and I've always said this before, to get a chain of hotels to host a series of events, like Yukon Jack did it, right? Yukon Jack had Marriott's, which they all have those champion bars in them. All the qualifying tournaments were at the Marriott, at the champion bars. And then their finals was in a Marriott in Chicago at a champion bars. When you won a qualifier, they paid for your 2-night stay at the finals. And when you got to your room, I've said this before, you had a gift bag. It had 2 bottles of Yukon Jack in it, 2 bottles of Yukon Jack whiskey, a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, and a hat from the event. It was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? You're stoked. My room was paid for by them. All I had to do is get a sponsor to pay for my flight, you know? And that, to me, that's ideal, you know? And then if you book, like Josh was able to book 25% of that hotel in St. Louis. So they were pretty happy. And then the 20% discount on alcohol, everybody was drinking afterwards. And they had a bar there set they already had an outdoor patio bar right outside our doors from the venue. And then they all set up a separate bar for us also. So it was well thought out. And it's something that everybody needs to take note of, because, you know, having a tournament in a bar is fun and all, but it's not that professional. And usually it's not that accommodating as far as being an athlete and being in a bar type of atmosphere. You know, you're probably going to be arm wrestling somebody that's half drunk, more than likely, which shouldn't be allowed, like any other drug. You know what I mean? Why would you be allowed to be drunk at a tournament? So to me, bar room, that's to me that's the lower level. You know, that could be part of the levels in arm wrestling that doesn't have to go away, because you're always going to have people that can throw small tournaments at bars. That's fine. But the elite tournaments, the big tournaments, the money tournaments, they need to be held, to me, my opinion, at a better venue to make it more professional. And it looks that much like they filled that place up at that tournament in St. Louis, and the one in Arizona as well. It was a full house, you know, and that's the way it should be. It should be half empty. You know what I mean? It should be, It should be I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't think bars are fun and all, but not at a professional level, you know, or an amateur level for that matter. You know what, guys? There was one broken arm at St. Louis, and it was fast. The match started, the dude tried to hold, his arm snapped, and it happens, you know. And I'm glad they didn't pull the video. I'm glad they didn't try to like take it off the mainstream, because the fact is this is part of the sport. Every sport has its downfalls, and arm wrestling is broken arms or a fucking busted tendon. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. That's reality. That's the risk of this sport, but that's what makes it a sport, right? So I don't think, you know, you don't have to block that type of stuff off. People can see that stuff and still carry on. You know, it's not going to kill them to see a broken arm.
Yeah, you shouldn't censor the truth.
Right.
Yeah. Some people want to see that shit.
You brought up was Las Vegas. When you said Las Vegas, you know, I could see that would be maybe a good spot too, because it's only a benefit for casinos to fill up the casino, and because people gamble, and so it's a, you know, you put something set in their off season, and they will give incentives by far to fill up that hotel, because the more people they have there, the more money they're going to make.
You can bring the
they
price
also
down.
have the venue, and they have everything there, and so that might be a possibility. If you go to a casino, say, hey, I can put 500 people in your hotel, in your casino on their off season, they're going to go for it and promote it. So there will be deals.
If you're able to incorporate your entry fee into your hotel reservation, then people would stay at that hotel, because a lot of people are always looking for a cheaper place to stay, which is totally understandable. But when they make it all inclusive and they get you discounts on food and alcohol, it ends up equaling out. You're not going to end up spending much more money if you stay at that host hotel. And by doing that, you're helping out the event and the sport, because it's showing that, again, unity. We fill up half that hotel with athletes from arm wrestling, and they're going to be happy to do it again and again and again. It's worthwhile to them. And the other half of that hotel gets to experience that tournament, possibly, if they go down. And like, we had a lot of people come and watch the event that were staying at the hotel, and then I heard them talking about it the next day. So it's pretty cool. And that's the way you exploit the sport.
when I was in high school, when I exited high school, they have the senior trip thing. It was like $200 and one of the options was to go to Vegas and to stay 3 days, and they pay for your food at the hotel and the flight for $200 because there was like 300 people going.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and that's makes it cheap for everybody, and it's good for the hotel. And maybe that's something that we should explore a little bit. Try to do that type of tournament, because that's something to where maybe it's not the huge casino hotels, but some of them smaller ones in the off season, I think they would really go for something like that.
Yeah, I think Vegas is a really good idea because they're all of their hotels, whether it's the expensive ones on the strip or something off strip, they're always looking to to give away rooms and stuff like that to get people to gamble, especially people that have been there before or have a gambling card or whatever, membership or whatever. I don't see why it would be any different. The only thing is, I would assume if we're gonna shoot for something that's going to be cheap enough to make it really worth it for people to come out and all stay at the same hotel, probably would have to be somewhere off strip, because you could probably get a good discount worked for 300, 400, 500 people staying at a hotel. But if it is on strip, that discount might, those are pretty expensive rooms these days on the strip, so it might just be brought down to like 300 a night or something like that. But maybe something off the strip, and like you said, in the off season could something cool could be worked out.
Yeah, all inclusive too. You know what I mean? Like I said, if you can get it worked out. Yeah. Whether it's buffet tickets that we get when we enter the tournament and register at the hotel, they hand you buffet tickets so that you can eat all you want at their buffet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'd be more than willing to explore a little. I could talk to a few people over, see if I could put together a little package to where, just throw out something like that to where, because they have the best deals. They have the best contacts with all the airlines as well. So if we could find something to where it comes with food, comes with the room, and it's a 2-day event or 3-day event, whatever it is, I bet you that's something that can be done for just we come up with an entry fee. And I bet that entry fee could cover everything, and the hotel would be, and the casino would be more than willing to do it, because in the off season, that's nothing but money in their bank, because people are going to gamble and they are going to spend money there. And I think that would be, something that we could probably, if you guys want, I could go check it, do some dry checks, see what I can do. Maybe something where the numbers say that's something that we need to do. Who knows? Maybe that is the way to do things. Because that would definitely bring, across the United States, something where everybody's going to want to do. They're going to want to go to a place like Las Vegas, because it's of all the history they have there. I mean, every big arm wrestling event that we've had in the United States, the biggest one's been in Las Vegas.
Pretty much, yeah. All the big ones pretty much have been in Vegas, and it's because it's cheap to fly to.
Correct.
And like you said, they want the business. So I mean, it's definitely one of the ideal spots. But there's casinos in other big cities too. But
none
again,
of which has the flying hub, though, that Las Vegas has. The cheapness, like I said, the cheapness of the flight and everything. So I mean, it just maybe
Actually,
the numbers.
the biggest tournament I think I ever went to was in Idaho, and it was at a Indian casino. There were 400.
Is that just because you're Mormon?
No, there were 400 competitors. It's name, not religion.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that made it give you a foot in the door, Don.
Yeah. No, I only want one wife.
Oh, okay.
we got Bridgettesexiness in the house. Derek Smith's other half is in here. Good to see you, Bridget. She says that this looks like a bunch of troublemakers. You know it. There's nothing but trouble over here. We got the schmo in the house. Paul, he had to step out for the night, say goodnight, but he did have a pretty good comment in regards to what we were talking about earlier with some of the top level guys. Well, I don't want to say top level, the ones with more social media exposure out there, helping at the ground floor to build the sport in a broad way. He says, unfortunately, some of the big names are not going to help unless they get paid. But if all of us guys, all of us little guys pull together, it will be hard, but I feel we will pass them. Then they'll want in. I like that.
Yeah.
Mainly talking about the ones who are making like their or now making a career off of the YouTube and social media. Right. We're the ones that are the reason they're getting paid, bro. Not you. I'm not telling you that, but I'm just saying that to people like that. That's the whole point of it, is like, you got to understand that the people that are subscribed to you are the reason why you're even able to make that a possibility to have that career. So keep that, make it a turnstile and everybody wins. Make it a revolving door where everybody is, subscribing to each other, helping each other. And then you have 20,000 channels with 500,000 subscribers, and imagine how many people see the sport then. Yeah. And then those top guys, they're only going to grow more. And I don't want to take anything away. I mean, because so we're basically talking about Devin Larratt. We're talking about, the Whisperer, of course. We're talking about Schoolboy, Arm Wrestling TV. All of those are big YouTube personalities. Hey, you just said all your names. I don't got nothing to do with that, bro. I am out of here. I'm gone. I'm just playing.
I mean, Devin,
no, that's exactly,
a lot of these guys
exactly
have contributed a lot in their way, Armbet was huge. And I'd say the one thing that those three have in common is bringing in new arm wrestlers. They have the biggest exposure to people that aren't, like us, that aren't going out there and training all the time, and, purists of the sport and everything like that. And that is
Armbet brought me
an important thing.
Armbet brought me in.
Right.
I think I've brought in 3 fishermen now.
Well, you got to put your hook in the water, Don.
Yeah, it's kind of just a matter of like what, where are the efforts being spent? And I think where their efforts are spent is good. They're doing what they do well. I think a lot of what we're talking about is to jump on board with anything like that was happening. That would be huge, of course. But unifying all these different small leagues and things going on would be a fantastic thing.
Look, I'm chatting with Travis right now as we speak, with Travis Bajan. Yeah. He's planning to come down. It was October. I'm asking him right now, is October a no-go? But now it looks like February. He will be down here in Southern California to put a tournament on. He told me he has like $8,000 in prize money so far. So there you have it. Again, like Travis he's a pinnacle for arm wrestling if he decides that he wants to blow it up more than just for himself. And Travis, as we know, is always been pretty honest about, I just want your money. Don't get it twisted. I just want your money. I'm here to throw a tournament, but I'm here for the money. And he's straight up about it, which is, I appreciate the fact that he doesn't try to act like he's not in the sport to make money. That's what he's here for, is to make money. But his name draws people. You know what I mean? Everybody shows up when Devin shows up, Travis shows up, everybody shows up just because it's them. And Travis is an entertainer. You know what I mean? I love the dude. I love the dude. Like, the dude's a cool cat. I love hanging out with them, and I know him good enough to know that he's a good dude. And he is in it for the money. So, I don't have any misconceptions. I just make sure I have everything straight with him before we sit down and we do anything together. But, so February, there's a tournament coming to Southern California. Whereabouts? It's going to be somewhere local to LA. So that's something to keep in mind and put on your agenda now. And then also anybody who's watching, know that there's a tournament in Southern California that's going to be happening in February. So if you're gonna plan a tournament in February, just keep in mind Travis is going to be having an event here as well. which would be pretty cool, which means if he brings his team, he'll probably bring Artem, along with Robert Kelly. And it should be a good show. It usually always is. So
Right.
just keep that in mind. And if I could talk him into, doing what some of the stuff we're talking about, again, I'm not going to
Absolutely.
stop
Yeah.
with the United Arm Wrestling League and the membership. That's still on the plate. That's a goal. And to me, that's the only thing that's going to change the sport. Like I said, when we unify and we all join the same league, and when I say that, I mean a membership league that encompasses all of us and all the other organizations. We're not edging out anybody by doing this. We're just paying in, becoming members. We're using that membership money for payouts at tournaments. If you're a member, you're entitled to the money. If you're not a member, that's your tough luck. That's your choice. You don't want to win money, then don't become a member. You know what I mean? So we'll talk more about that amongst ourselves, like we've talked about before. And we'll keep plugging away at this thing. The hotel thing, you know what I mean? All these ideas, if we can make if we can make all this shit actually happen, then we're on our way. You know what I mean? We're making changes that are long overdue. So if we stick together and we keep pushing, I know it's easy to fall. It's like we all have our own lives to live. You know what I mean? So it's really easy to fall off the trail to where we're trying to get to. But if we stick together and we help one another, this is definitely doable without a doubt,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exciting stuff. And I'm really excited about that league. I really look forward to talking more about that. We definitely need to. I love what Bridget said. She said, let's just put up a billboard, let everyone on the 10 freeway know that arm wrestling is a sport.
That would be funny. Remember, like the generic sign, just black and white, a big question mark. Did you know there's arm wrestling and a big question mark?
Yeah, it'd be great. It would be great. Everybody would be like, what the hell did I just see? She said that she's going to see how much it'll cost to put Derek on a billboard for his birthday. That'll be great.
He's too big. Tell her.
They're going to need 2 billboards.
I know. Even if it's to scale, the billboard will be too big. I love it. We got Todd Calzo in the house. What's up, Todd? He just got done training with his son Elijah and friend Kaleo. Freaking awesome. Yes, and I'm really looking forward to the Chris Kringle pull in December. We've Travis and Josh and I still need to talk a couple things out tomorrow about it, but there's a lot of exciting things that we can't wait to disclose and put out there. That one's going to be a great event. I love the fact that it is a toy drive and just a massive amount of kids and families that are going to be there. Such a great opportunity for exposure to the sport.
No, it sounds great. Like I just seen a little bit of that. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together till you just said that it's going to be our like basically a fundraiser for gifts and money, right? More or less.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a toy drive for kids.
Awesome.
So yeah, like all of the people coming, they're going to bring toys and Travis had did this before, and he has a goal that he's trying to reach this year, getting over 1,000 toys. And so we're going to all do our best to help with that. And I know, as well as, all of us know that the way our community is, everybody's going to show up with a toy for a kid. I mean, it's a great cause. And so,
awesome.
Yeah, hold of Southern Cal Hell's Angels. They will really help you there. They love to do that toy drive stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They definitely do. Travis, you're muted.
I said we did 520 toys last year, so we're hoping to get 1,000 this year. We had over 1,000 people last year, so Kane, Josh, there's obviously a lot to go over on that. I mean, people have been hitting me up for super matches for this event. We want to go over the 12 super matches that you guys have in mind. I will be flying Two, as of right now, with the sponsors that I have, I will be flying two big names out. Two top dogs in Northern America. Yeah, I have some matches kind of lined up. So that's gonna be really exciting. I'm kind of waiting on the Brandon and Robbie match coming up to kind of see who's the winner on that one. But I've been talking to some people. So this currently it's a 1-day event, but another guy I'm talking to, it might turn into a 2-day event, which I'm going to talk to you guys about as well. But yeah, we're still kind of working on things behind the scenes, but it's going to happen. It's going to be a really, really big event, and I'm definitely really excited. It's been draining. We've been reaching out to a lot of people, so it's been draining already, man. But I mean, like I said, we got to plan this right now because when it comes Halloween and Thanksgiving time, there's no more time. There is no more time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The most
That's-
important factors are I feel like are hashed out. And in terms of the matches, we haven't released those, and we're still working a couple out, a few out. Yeah, all the important ingredients are there, and I'm really, really excited about this. I love that you've created a foundation for this event already, and it's an opportunity to cross-pollinate with the sport.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I agree. I think a lot of arm wrestlers are going to show up to give to support for this.
Sure, absolutely. I think you'll reach your $1,000 goal. I mean, 1,000 toy goal for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely need Scott for a ref for that one.
I'll be glad to. Absolutely.
So yeah, I got refs from out of state hitting me up saying, hey, can you fly me in and all that. I'm just like, I don't know. I got some pretty good refs in the state of California right now. So
Can I have to be I guess just honest. Everybody that's hitting Travis up, this is a charity. This is a charity thing. The more money that goes out to flying people in and stuff, which is amazing, but that takes away from like the goal that you have. That's such a beautiful thing that's going on. So
absolutely, absolutely, and that's why I've been talking to a lot of sponsors and just reaching out to a lot of people, because ultimately my goal is to make this a really, really big event. My ultimate goal is like I said, like Coliseum style seating. I'm looking at bleachers right now because I want the crowd to be looking down at the competitors. So I don't want it to be like, oh, sitting in chairs and kind of trying to look over people. I want the viewers to have kind of a sky view. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be absolutely electric, and I'm talking it up so much, so it's all good. It's all good because I'm setting high expectations. I have a $20,000 sponsor goal. Is kind of that's what I'm trying to reach to make everything of my vision come true. So that's kind of like my target. Last year I had 7,000 in sponsors, just for what we did, and then this year I want to get an additional 13,000. So that. I believe that's kind of where I need to be to make everything that I want for it to happen just really just fall into place exactly how we need it to. So I think it's going to happen. So it's going to be really good.
Sounds great. Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have that all be green solar power, all them lights and stuff?
I gotta switch up all the lights and everything, man. It's a lot of work. I mean, like I was telling Kane and Josh, I mean, it's over 100,000 lights just on the house, and I do all my neighbors' houses on top of another 100 houses that I install for Christmas season. So I'm extremely busy in November. I won't be stopping installations until December 5th or 6th. I had to turn down a lot of jobs last year just because we were getting ready for the party. But I'm going to take on as much as I can because I want to take on that extra work to kind of just put a little extra into the party, because I mean, this is the event in my eyes of the year. I'm sure there's big arm wrestling events that a lot of people have been to, but like in my eyes, my goal is for it to be one of the biggest. That's not a pay-per-view. Like that's
When's
my
the
goal.
date?
It's
Sorry.
December 9th. It's December 9th. So like I said, I mean,
'Cause I think I know that I know of an event that's in December, which is the Washington tournament that Tim Talmadge puts on, which I think is I think it's the first week of December. So it's probably the week before the 9th. So I don't think it'd interfere with
what's the
it
date
too
like
much
this?
anyways. It's in Washington,
Might
so
be the second.
it's
Yeah.
not close.
Yeah, that's part of the reason we're trying to get it out there early.
Yeah.
But
It's good.
yeah, man, that's a lot of lights, dude. You're gonna be going full Chevy Chase on this one. Yeah, I think even though it's gonna be like nighttime and snow blowing and sledding, people are gonna have to bring their sunglasses and sunscreen. It's just gonna be bright.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, we put a ADU next to our house, and then so that's gonna get all the lights, and our neighbors have a ton of lights, and then we'll have spotlights for strictly the arm wrestling table. And yeah, I mean, there's gonna be vendors set up. There's gonna be 40,000 pounds of snow. The sled run will be going. There's gonna be whoever brings a toy is gonna get the free food. So the sponsors gonna be putting up, obviously the food for that one. So the first last year was the first 300. This year it'll be like the first 600 people that bring a toy. Some people will bring 2 toys, 10 toys, 20 toys. I had one guy bring like 80 toys last year. So yeah, it's amazing, and they just see what we do for the community, and that's what it's all about, like I said. And that's why I believe bringing arm wrestling to this is truly something special, because all the kids and all that last year, I'm like, these kids need to see the electricity by the matches of like an arm bender, Caleb, or like, ET, or if we can get like a Ole and all those big names, if we could get those guys, it'd be great, right? I mean, we already have Caleb. He's like, just give me whatever. I just want a great match and I want to compete. So I'm like, all right, I'll throw you this guy. But yeah, he'll take on anybody pretty much. But he's very, very fun to watch, and the kids will love that about him. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's what kind of made me gravitate towards Caleb is the electricity and the adrenaline rush. I'm like, damn, you're getting me going, So I'm not even arm wrestling. I'm coming up in 2 hours. So, but yeah, I mean, the shit's awesome. And I'm just glad that, Kane and Josh can help me out on this. And Josh is bringing a full team from Northern California. I mean, that's awesome that he has a group of guys that are willing to travel. So, yeah, I mean, everybody that's helping out, it's going to be one of the most memorable things ever for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Johnny
Very cool.
Dang in the house says Dawn is giving me serious Blair Witch vibes right now. You are. I was looking over there. Yeah, man. Scary stuff. Speaking of which, dude, next year we need to throw a Halloween event. If we're gonna be doing this Kris Kringle pull stuff.
Yeah,
next
I said that same shit, bro. How cool would it be if we did a costume
The
fucking
pumpkin
event?
pull. Yes.
The
Yeah,
pumpkin
there was
pull.
something I saw
thought
maybe
about it. I
like
didn't know if we had enough.
it was like a non-arm wrestler showed me something, I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago. It was like an all women's event at like a bar. I don't know. And it was a Halloween event, and it was a bunch of ladies arm wrestling. I don't think any of them were like actual arm wrestlers.
Oh,
But yeah,
you're talking about,
dressed
yeah,
up and stuff.
you're talking about it's called, what the fuck is it? LAW. It's Los Angeles. What is it? LAW. It's law. It's Los Angeles Arm Wrestling. It's the women's arm wrestling. It's right here in downtown LA. And yeah, they all dress up. Most of them are in theater. They're in movies or plays.
Right.
Yeah. And it is pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
It was a good time. And the place they actually hold it at is like a theater. It's a bar nightclub that has bands, as you've probably seen. Did you go to it?
I didn't go. I just watched the footage.
Oh.
You sent me a video. Yeah.
Yeah, the venue's badass. It's actually a pretty cool place to have a tournament. But yeah, it's downtown LA, and it's LAW, it's law, and it's Los Angeles, or is it? I forget what it stands for. It's Los Angeles. I thought it was women's arm wrestling, but I forget. Anyways, they're still doing it, right? You
I
know?
have no idea. I haven't seen the last couple years if they were or not. But I mean,
Yeah, I was actually I was helping them at that tournament. I supplied the tables, I
Oh.
refereed, and then I kind of handed it over to Lori Cole, and then she kind of helped them out to keep it going. And then I didn't go the last couple of them, but they were definitely fun and entertaining. Yeah, it was a good time. Cool shit.
yeah, get those fog machines out. So Chris Kringle poll, we got Santa versus the Grinch. For this, we would definitely do Freddy versus Jason, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Does Freddy get to have the knives?
Oh, 100%.
Some
You talking
serious
Halloween or Christmas?
stuff.
There you go, Don. That's for Don Mormon. You see that, Don?
Oh, nice. That's a cool wood carving.
Isn't that badass? It's like a puzzle.
I
got
like it.
that. I got that in Bishop, California, traveling through Bishop. I love that town. You know, on the way to Mammoth.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is it a trout or a bass?
The bass, right?
It's a big mouth bass eating a little fish, like me eating Don. You know what I mean?
That's fucking perfect.
I keep telling Don I'm going to go out there and go fishing because I don't know how to. I fish, but I don't know how to fish like he does. You know what I mean? That's one thing he's better than me at.
I do like to catch fish.
What's your
Yeah, you
typical
do.
haul if you go out fishing, Don? What do you come back with usually?
Well, lately I've been averaging around 30, 40 fish a trip.
Wow.
Whoa. That's nice.
I think I actually invited Josh to go, and he didn't go, so I sent him messages of what he was missing out on, and I think I caught 30 something that day. But
Yeah,
You're a cook,
33 that
Josh.
day.
You could stock
It's
that
usually a mixed
freezer,
bag.
man.
I'm not really doing the trophy bass thing anymore. I was, throwing giant baits, 8, 10-inch swim baits, and catching bass over 10 pounds, giant limits, and then it turned into actually the light line thing, 4-pound test, and just catching everything. It's a lot of fun.
Do you ever deep sea fish?
Yeah, I do. I just this year I went halibut fishing not long ago twice. We got limits, so
Where
I
you go,
really
like-
like halibut.
Where do you go? Santa Cruz? Where do you go?
We went the last time we were right in the bay, actually, inside the bay,
Okay,
San Francisco Bay.
nice.
The halibut move in there pretty heavy, so it gets on fire in there pretty good. I mean, they changed our limit up here. Well, I guess all of California. It was 3 per person. Now it's 2. They cut the salmon off, so everybody was halibut fishing. So then they dropped the limit on halibut.
Wow.
How many pounds is your typical halibut?
I'd say probably 8 to 10, something like that. A nice one is going to run you around 20 plus.
Jeez, that's a big fish.
Yeah. But yeah, come up and fish with me sometime. You're more than welcome to.
I will. One of these times I'll come up for a big practice and stay up there maybe a couple extra days, go fishing with you.
By the way, I might be helping on down ref on the UAL.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just talked
so-
to Phil. He just confirmed for I'm going to ref UAL and probably that Riverside tournament and just let my arm rest for a little while. As hard as that's going to be, man, those rings at UAL, whoo, baby. I would really like to try to win one of those.
I know those are bad, dude.
Those are
Those
sweet,
are bad.
dude.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and I mean, cash is awesome, but things like that is really cool. I mean, you
Well,
show
that's
your friends
keepsake. I mean, you're
forever.
going to have that forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that necklace. I don't know if you saw that arm wrestling necklace that I got, and I've been trying to sell them for Jordan, but they're badass. They're little stainless steel arm wrestling arms that are necklaces, and they're pretty sick. And again, that's something you have the rest of your life. Huh?
You have them for sale?
Yeah, I have them for sale. I got like a dozen of them. I've already sold half of them, so I probably got like 6 left. Some people want them bigger. Like Danny Gillian's like, I don't know, you know Danny Gillian? The guy with the big, huge rope necklace from Texas. He's my age. He's usually like, he's a really good arm wrestler. He's always placed in top 3, but he's got this chain that's like freaking almost an inch thick. He's like, can I get one that'll fit my chain? He's like, I don't care how much it costs. I'm like, yeah, I guess. He goes, yeah, hey, if you make it in gold, that'd be great. I'm like, wow, dude, that's going to be a lot of money. He's like, I don't care. I'm like, all right, we'll see what we can do. You know,
awesome.
But again, those are things like the ring. You'll have that the rest of your life. Like I'll flip this thing around again. I'm going to show you, like, this is one of my favorite trophies. I cherish this trophy. And this is a Yukon Jack trophy right here. You see that, right? So it's solid granite.
That's
It's
cool.
probably, it's almost a foot tall, and that's from 1990. And that's second place. First place is a little bit bigger than that. And that's like, again, it's one of my favorite trophies. And it's because it's not your typical trophy. That's a piece of artwork there. You know what I mean? So it's just those type of trophies and awards are precious to me. And don't get me wrong, homemade trophies are cool too. But, I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not really going to go to a tournament to win somebody's, homemade state trophy, and pay $50 to enter that class, or even win a little wafer thin medal and pay $50 to enter that class. That there's no keepsake in that. I might end up giving that medal away to somebody else before I actually, really want to keep it for myself because it's such a bitch of medal. Like I got this one. So I won this one in up in St. Louis. I don't know if you guys saw the awards up there. They also had the bigger.
Bad.
Yeah, this thing's pretty cool. And then Tim Talmadge, I don't know if you guys saw the awards in Arizona, but those medals were badass too. They were good sized medals, and I would have loved to have one of those just to to have on my
Weren't
mantle.
those the ones that were kind of shaped like the Superman logo, weren't they?
Tim's were there. I don't remember exactly. They were big though. They were probably, almost 8 inches in circumference. They were good size, and they were, no, they weren't your average medals. Put it that way. Like UAL always has dope ass medals. You know what I mean? They're always girthy. They're good medals. They're not. It's not like somebody bought a box of 100 medals to give out at their events. You know what I mean? These are custom made medals that are, to me, again, I'm proud when I win cool shit like that. You know what I mean? And if I show somebody, hey, this is what I won, and they hold it and go, wow, this thing's nice. You know what I mean? That's something that's an accomplishment,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, I got asked when I went down south what I won, and I told them a handle.
Okay, it's an inside joke. What kind of handle?
A peg.
That was
You
the
ripped the
table
peg.
peg.
Oh, gotcha.
Remember, you ripped it right off the
Right.
table.
Right.
Yeah. if you ever train with Don Mormon or have a match with him, don't let him near your arm wrestling table. He's just gonna rip it apart and take it home with him.
That's why they call them hands of steel.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, we got to come up with a really cool design for the Kris Kringle pool for the like a trophy or a medal or some cool looking plaque, something cool. I'm willing to spend some decent money on a really cool Superman.
Maybe a Santa Claus, a nice bitchin' metal that's a Santa Claus flexing with some guns on them. You know what I mean?
And give
That
the
might be cool.
losers coal.
Coal, coal
Yeah,
to
if you
burn.
lose, you get coal. Yeah.
That was-
Yeah, a lump of coal on a lanyard. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
have you guys-
we got to keep the whole thing.
Have it engraved on a large, thick piece of plexiglass. Those are always really nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hey, have you guys seen on the news? This is kind of off subject, but you know, some of you guys might want to use it for enhancing your strength. But they're now saying that you should save your poop, right? Your poop. Save your poop because you can eat it and it is good and it's good for you. This was on ABC News, bro. I took a caption picture of it. Like they're fucking selling this, that you can save your poop, dry it out, almost like you take
right now. Wait, I'm gonna tell you right now. Anybody wants to buy my poop? I am on the market. I will send it to you. Free shipping.
What the fuck?
Buy Don Mormon's poop. You will be ripping arm wrestling pegs
Right.
off in no time.
I got dibs on Devin's poop.
Nothing like a good
No.
OG first.
This
It's got to
conversation
taste like
just got shitty.
pancakes. Devin's has got to taste like blueberry pancakes, right?
It's PEP, performance enhancing poop.
Okay, but let's not go
Jeez.
crazy on the poo, guys.
You
It's
wash
like
it down with a
it's
little
like
bit of, wash
it
it
is
down with a
like
little bit of
PRP.
pee-pee, right?
Well, that's the thing, right? So you can drink your own urine. There's guys that do steroids. The guys that do steroids, heavily steroid users that are bodybuilders, and they drink their own urine.
Yeah, I've heard
Why?
that.
Well, you
Not
know,
to-
I'm
I
glad
wonder
I'm
if
not a
LeVon does
bodybuilder.
it.
They're like recycling that shit or what?
It still has the juice in it. You know what I mean? So I
Body
guess
only absorbs 50%.
Yeah, now
You
you
know,
see.
you can survive on your own urine. That's a fact. I mean, if you really had to, I could see that happening, but to drink it
Yeah,
because it's
but you know, my wife's sitting next to me and she's heard it and she said, yeah, but you don't really have to.
well,
Nobody's in dire straits to drink pee right now.
right. Well, that dude in that huge earthquake in Turkey. I don't know if you guys remember, but that kid that was found like 10 days later, that's how he survived was
Well, now that's
drinking it.
different.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
different.
I mean, it could be recreational. You never know.
But yeah,
Ah.
you know, I mean, hey, if I'm trapped down in a pit and I can't get out, pass me a cup.
Yeah, right.
If you're spending 10,000 a month in steroids, though, maybe that's what makes them think they're just cheap.
Grace Bear just said, yeah, time for bed. She said goodnight to us. She's not having this poo talk.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, Stephanie Spencer says, ooh, Johnny Dang says this got weird. And
It's been coming around that long.
See what you did, Scott?
Whatever.
Johnny
Who?
also says he would drink breast milk if he got into bodybuilding. Yeah, I heard that's where it's at.
Hey, tell Johnny, don't be mad at us. It's sleep deprivation. There's 4 guys on this call that are 3 hours past their bedtime.
Hey, ask him if his
Oh
hearing's
shit,
good,
I'm one of the 4. Oh crap.
because I could turn this up for him.
Oh man, but he's
Yeah,
probably right.
It is
Yeah.
past 10. I think this is the longest we've gone,
Oh,
Josh.
don't cut it off now, Kane. Just let everybody fizzle out. Let's break records, bro. Let's break
let it ride.
records.
Are we gonna talk about eating vomit next? What
Oh no.
where we're gonna go?
Oh, hey, actually, Caleb did, not Caleb, Josh Drogos, I think you pronounce his last name. Him and this other dude had a really long war. I mean, it was a long match. And dude immediately, as soon as the match was over, went straight to the trash can and started puking.
Yeah.
And Josh was really proud. Joshua was really proud of that. Like, I made that dude puke.
Yeah, right.
So
That's awesome.
ending on that note,
Right.
That's
it was
awesome.
good chat with you guys, man. I am going to cut out though. I'm going to take a hot bath and soak my arms in some Epsom salt and
Sounded good.
maybe save my poop. I don't know.
And don't let me know how that goes. I do
Once
hope you feel
again-
better though.
Once again,
Thanks.
Scott telling us how old he is without telling us.
Oh, yeah.
Epsom
The only guy,
salt.
the only guy who
Right.
takes a plate and a cup into the bathroom, right?
Well,
All
it's
right,
good solid
brother.
though. All right, man. Peace,
See
you
later,
guys.
Sean.
All right.
Bye.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the chat for hanging out. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. You have a wonderful night.
So this guy's
All right, everybody.